Let's do this. Get ready for the Dirt Life Show.
Yeah. What is up, everybody? Welcome to the Dirt Life Show, episode, what is this? Episode 40 now, right?
Yes.
Oh, we still got some audio going, huh?
Is it this one, maybe?
Although I think it might be actually mine. Yeah, so it's episode 40 tonight. We are really, really stoked. Although, I kind of wanted your episode to be 39.
39, yeah.
And we just missed it by one, but maybe
what's cool about 40?
Huh.
Now that you've joined 40, I remember when I turned 40.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, I didn't care about anybody else's opinions.
Yeah. It's like you grew out of it.
Totally.
Well, welcome to the Dirt Life Show, episode 40. Thank you guys very, very much for joining. We already got our first comment. Eric, what's up, man? How are you? So I'm Georgie Hamill, and alongside me is my co-host extraordinaire, Casey Peck.
What's up, everybody?
And tonight we're doing something a little bit different. Tonight we are going to do Meet the Host. So I had a very interesting conversation at a bike shop the other day, and a guy just referred to me as the Dirt Life. So I was like, man, that is pretty freaking cool that he knows me as Dirt Life and doesn't even know my name.
Right.
Because that means that we're doing a very good job with the show, and it actually spawned all kinds of things for me. And I started looking at statistics. I started seeing how people are watching, how they're consuming it, and we're doing a really good job, man. So it's not just me. It's everybody that's watching, all of the people that are following along, all of our sponsors, all the people that are sharing it on social. There's a huge community that makes the show function. So Thank you very much, everybody, for making this show such a good success in its short, not even year span of time yet. So in August, we're going to have our year anniversary. August 12th was our first show last year, and we'll call it episode 1 of Meet the Host. So that's you get to be the icebreaker.
Nice.
And in August, I think I'd like to see if we can do something with myself too. Maybe we could, obviously that dude had no idea who I was, so maybe it'd be cool for me to introduce myself to some of our audience members too. So
sounds good.
I think it would be pretty cool. In the meantime, though, let's just keep things going as smoothly as possible. Have everybody keep joining us on social media. You can always follow us if you can't join us live on our social media channels at The Dirt Life Show. And that's on Instagram and Facebook mostly. Instagram is our busiest one. But you can always watch us on YouTube, and you can watch us on Facebook on the archives. And if you're driving, don't watch it on YouTube. Make sure you always listen to it on iTunes. That way you don't get a ticket or anything.
Disclaimer.
Yeah, exactly. So we didn't say that you could watch it on YouTube while you're driving. So you can check it out on all the podcast networks on iTunes, Spotify. In fact, Spotify just I think took over as the number one podcast consumption network. So
did it?
We get most of our views on iTunes, but so check it out on Spotify, check it out on Google Play, all those networks. We're out on every single one of them. So wherever you consume your podcast, go check it out there. And obviously, like I said, you can join us on Facebook too. So most of our views currently come from Facebook, but we're trying to push the YouTube stuff more.
Nice. What's up, Rory? How you doing, buddy?
Yeah, Rory's on too, right?
Yes.
So tonight we got a pretty cool show, but we'd like to thank our sponsors first. We always open up by thanking them. One of the things that I wanted to make sure that we were really clear about is that all of the people that we've partnered up with have been super, giving and open to being a partner with us, because they had no idea if this show was going to last 2 episodes, if it was going to keep going. And right now, everybody that's joined the show and all the community that's watching has helped us show our sponsors that we're doing a good job for them. And we're getting calls from other people now, and we're really, really having a great following from everybody in the industry, which means a lot to me because I know how hard it was trying to get off-road, or even you in the RC car industry, bicycle industry, dirt bikes, trying to get people to notice you and get sponsors. It was gnarly, right? Mm-hmm. And now people are calling us. So it's super cool. And I haven't made any decisions to go with any new partners yet. I've been trying to, pick and choose as much as possible, but it's really, really flattering for people to take notice. So I really appreciate that. And all of you guys that are watching are a big part of that, because they see that you guys are interacting with the show. So keep it up and help us get some more sponsors. So thank you to our current sponsors. Thank you very, very much to the guys at Shock Therapy. You can always use the code DIRTLIFE at the Shock Therapy website, which is shocktherapist.com. And follow them on social media too, man. They put out a bunch of good content. And call the shop, Get your suspension tuned up, get your UTV tuned up. They can help you out with all that stuff. Thank you to the guys at KMC Wheels. Ryan Edwards over there at KMC Wheels is taking care of everybody. He does such a great job, and they make such fantastic products, man. They're definitely the big dogs in the wheel industry. Thank you to Travis Zollinger and all the guys at Zollinger Racing Products. You can use the code DIRTLIFE over there too and save a whole bunch of money on their stuff. I've noticed a lot of people on social media that were part of the Zollinger Racing giveaway that we did a few months back, and even though they didn't win that, they went out and bought some really, really cool Zollinger products. So I hope they use the code DIRTLIFE and save some money on it. But if they didn't, you can. So go to the ZollingerRacingProducts.com, use the code DIRTLIFE, and save some money. Thank you very much to the guys at Rugged Radios for always having our back. Those guys are having some serious fun. They've been out and about doing all kinds of fun stuff. So you should follow them on social media at Rugged Radios and use the code DIRTLIFE to get some awesome Rugged Radio products. One of my buddies came over the other day to help me fix my derailleur on my bike, and he was telling me that he just picked up a dirt bike, but he got the Rugged Radios intercom system for the dirt bike so he could talk to the guys on the side-by-sides when he was at the dunes.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, so it was pretty cool.
Nice.
Yeah, so thank you very much, Ricky, for helping out with my derailleur, too. It's pretty awesome, dude. And thank you very much to the guys at Solderweld. Those guys are awesome. We just gave away that off-road repair kit last week, and I forgot it. Sinister Eco Boost was, I forgot his real name, but on social media, he won that thing. He posted some pictures. He's stoked, dude. Mm-hmm. So it was awesome. You can use the code DIRTLIFE on solderweld.com to go get yourself one of those off-road repair kits. Those things are super, super cool. I think everybody in their van, their Jeep, their trailer, every single thing.
In their Eco Beast?
In their Eco Beast. And so he said he had an Eco Boost, so.
Nice.
You were Team Eco Boost for a while.
I was. My work truck is right now, too. It's awesome.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
Sweet. So, anyways, I think everybody should have one of those off-road repair kits because it's not just for off-road. Like, it could have saved us traveling across the country in the trailer a couple times. So
Totally.
Those things are super cool. So thank you very much to the guys at Solderweld. Lance over there is always doing us a solid. So, one of the things that I wanted to mention, too, is I don't know if you guys can see it too good here, but DynoJet gave us this awesome, it's Stage 2 clutch kit for a 17 to 19 Polaris Razor XP Turbo. This thing is bitchin'. Like, these clutch kits make such a huge difference. You know how you just had me change my chain ring on my bicycle, and I was like, dude, it's so much easier? That's the way that these clutch kits make a huge difference on the Polaris Razors. Like, you can tune those things so much better, and this thing is badass. So we're going to be giving this thing away. First of all, thank you very much to Matt over at DynoJet for hooking this thing up to give to you guys. This thing is worth, I think he said $699 or something. Dude, it's a good
awesome
prize, man. So thank you very much to the guys at DynoJet. So we're going to be giving it away, but just pay attention to social media. We'll run a contest similar to the ones that we've done before. We'll probably do it maybe tomorrow or Wednesday. I'll put out a video on social media. So go to @TheDirtLifeShow on Instagram and check out that social media contest. Obviously, follow the rules, and you can win this bad boy for your Polaris.
Follow the rules.
Yeah. Number one, follow the dang rules. And he also told me if you didn't have a Polaris, he would consider switching it out if you won. So,
awesome.
Yeah, so those guys at DynoJet are taking care of us. So.
Definitely.
We got any other comments coming in?
Yep. Joe says, hey. Eric says, hey. We got Brian Hawkins. Hola, gentlemen. Brian says, hey, sweet orange fork. You know my orange, right? That's my color.
Yep, and you got your Solderweld
hey,
shirt
look
on.
at that, orange.
And you got your orange RC car.
Yep.
The only thing that's not orange is, we got a surprise. See, we
old
want
school.
Well, we want Joe
yeah.
Whining to tune in. So
we do.
Yeah, if anybody's out there knows Joe Whining, send him a message or text him right now and tell him to log on because we got a little surprise for him. Maybe I'll text him during the break.
Yeah, that throws it back a little bit.
So before we get into our talk about Brian Hawkins, we were talking stuff about Memorial Day stuff earlier. We got the United States flag in the rotation of the sponsors actually today, and to commemorate a lot of the people that made the ultimate sacrifice for us to go play in the dirt. So
true.
One of the things that we were talking about before the show is how much different these helmets were back in the day.
Terrible.
Right? So let's talk about the evolution of the helmets real quick. So you had like Jeff Ward and all those guys like way back, right? Like let's talk about 70s and 80s or whatever. Right. And this was like before our time, but they had the
open face. Yeah.
So how did you not
guard.
get roost in your mouth?
Well, I think some of those guys too. Wardy did it for a long time. He still wore it when there was Full Face, it was almost like the guys that were like I looked at it as like they were the bad boys. Like they weren't gonna be put.
That's
they
a
weren't
little
gonna
hardcore.
They weren't going to
though.
let the man tell them that they needed a chin bar.
I'm gonna just take Roos straight to the face.
Yeah, totally. Oh, don't worry. My extension of my goggles will protect my teeth. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, exactly. So,
Steve Westfall says, hey.
Oh, right on. What's up, Steve? How are you doing?
Tim Lime, Bobby
So,
Moore. How's it going, guys?
It's cool to see these things, though, because you were talking a little bit before the show, like how amped we were when we saw these sticker kits come out. Because I don't know if people can tell, but these are stickers, right?
Right.
So for the people that are watching on audio, we're looking at one of Casey's old helmets, and it's got some cool stickers like, I don't know, like Flintstones with flames, kind of? Like
Yeah,
what
but if you remember, we used to geek out. Like, I made that out of our own vinyl. You used to do the same. And then all these little rocks were from other stickers that didn't fit.
Oh, and you just put them on
they're
there?
just all cut out. Like, I must have spent 20 hours on this terrible thing.
But it's good. And then you got like some of the old school like brands on here, like the O'Neill Crown.
And there's a whole story to why I had to wear this.
What was the story?
Well, I got all my gear stolen prior to my first Supercross, my debut of being or doing a real pro race.
Yeah.
All my stuff got stolen. We can get into it, but that's the funny thing about it is this thing actually brought home the bacon.
It's crazy, though.
It's terrible.
And I remember that these mouthpieces, so this is a Shoei, I think, VFX or something,
Yeah,
right?
I think that's what it was called.
So these mouthpieces, this is like a square mouthpiece because people that are on iTunes, listening from iTunes, won't be able to see this visually. But this is kind of like a square mouthpiece with rectangles and stuff.
Right.
But when they came out with the oval one,
Troy
that
Lee
was
did.
like, oh, don't show it yet. Don't show it yet.
Oh,
We'll
my
talk.
bad.
We'll show it later.
Okay.
Um,
we need Joe for that
yeah,
one.
so Casey has both helmets here. But I was thinking to myself, like, if I could just save up $15 of my allowance, I could get one of those mouthpieces because they were so killer.
And if you had an extra 25, you could get the stabilizer.
Yeah.
You remember that?
Yep. Those things were so awesome.
I obviously didn't have the extra 25.
And then, so this helmet, like, and we were comparing it to some of the new helmets we have, like a carbon fiber one, but this helmet had vents in it. It was like game changer.
Yep.
And these things were just so cool, man. Like back in the day, it was like if you had a Shoei helmet like that, like you had made it.
You were,
like,
yeah, right.
You were like already in the pro class, basically. So it's cool to see
funny.
that. What was the reason? Excuse me. What was the reason that you had a black visor on this?
Like I said, I just had to come up with something literally in a week. So I found this sticker kit at Donnie's or something, Tucson ATV.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I had a spare visor. Or no, he only had a white one.
It looks like it's
was.
painted, though.
It is painted. So he only had a white one, and in my mind, a white one wasn't going to work.
Yeah, a white one with this would look a little cue ball, right?
So it's just rattle can. It's so bad.
Dude, it's so good, though. Like, the memories that this helmet have brought you is, like, crazy.
Totally.
So we're going to go down memory lane with Casey in a little while. But before we do, we wanted to obviously honor all the families that have lost loved ones.
Absolutely.
And remember them. That's why we're having today. Today's a Memorial Day. So one of the differences that you pointed out that was kind of good, and it shouldn't take social media to tell people this, but Veterans Day is for veterans.
Right.
The people that are here.
Absolutely.
And they need support and they need help. And
Yep.
companies like the T-shirt I'm wearing tonight was Warfighter Made Organization. We're going to have Robert Blanton on it a little bit. He supports those veterans.
Yep.
But unfortunately, Memorial Day is just to remember those that gave the ultimate sacrifice for us.
Right. A whole different meaning and carries more weight.
Yeah.
And people miss that.
Absolutely.
Yep.
And so the Carries More Weight program is obviously carries more weight with the families and stuff that are left behind.
For sure.
But we definitely want to have some sort of, memory for all those guys, because we're sitting here talking about how awesome it is to live the dirt life, right? Well, there's a very good chance that we wouldn't be doing that if it wasn't for them.
Oh, yeah.
So
for sure.
We are very, very thankful to have all of those people still around supporting their families and looking after their loved ones, even though they have somebody that left. So thank you very much for all of the people that are still around. Thank you very much to all those guys that gave the ultimate sacrifice and supported us to do the things that we love. So it's amazing to have those type of people. And I was talking about this with Brian Hawkins that commented in. It's a very, very different mindset to have. Like, he told me, he goes, dude, I admire you so much because you've come back from doing things. I could never do a triple, and he goes, but I can run into gunfire. I have no problem running into gunfire. And I go, dude, you're a different breed. Like,
Totally.
Like, he's a badass, right? Like, I'm just some little, like, dirt bike guy that was just jumping jumps, right? Like, there's no, you know, what do you call it, equal in that comparison whatsoever.
Sure.
Because I'm not fighting for anything
Right.
except for getting on the podium.
Sure.
That's it. And he's fighting for us.
Yep.
So thank you very much, dude. Like, we really, really understand all the things that the people go through, and we respect everybody so much. So what we were going to do tonight is a little bit different. We've been going for, it looks like about 16, 17 minutes now. Around 6:20 or so, we're gonna do 2 commercial breaks tonight. We're gonna talk with Robert a little bit, so we'll go to commercial break and we'll bring him on FaceTime and have some fun with him. He said he was gonna go home, hang out with his wife, and who's also a veteran, and have a couple cocktails. So I think that's gonna be pretty cool. I think that's a very good way to remember some of the people that they were with and to have a good time and celebrate the lives that they have right now. So it'll be pretty cool. And he was working on some really cool projects when I tested the call with them earlier. He had a really, really awesome, I don't know if it was a Harley Davidson, but it was a road bike at his shop that they were working on, probably for a veteran, man. It was bad looking. I love that thing, man. So
he's always got something cool going on.
He really does, dude. Like, I don't even know where he comes up with these ideas. So it'll be cool to talk to him. We'll have a little bit of fun with him, and then we'll go to a quick commercial break right after that and have our second commercial break, and then we'll get into Casey's story. I think Casey's story will be really, really cool for all of us to talk about. What I'd like to do is talk about some stuff that with everybody else too. So we're going to be talking about some stuff like when we were kids. We're going to be talking about playing in the dirt. We're going to be talking about how we grew up, the little ATCs that we rode, and all these different things, right? Like even Cade Clayson, our guest last week, has talked about he grew up on a quad, right?
Right.
And turned into dirt bikes. I would like to see if everybody can join in, though, and have a little bit of fun with us. So when we get on a subject like maybe growing up as kids and different things like that, chime in and tell us some stories, too, and we'll see if we have enough time to answer your guys' questions or chime in on the comments and stuff, too. So I think it would be really, really cool if we all engage in those stories together. Today's episode going to be a little lighter since it's just me and Casey in the studio, or Casey and I in the studio. So let's have some fun with it. Let's try to see if we can get some more interaction going, because it'll give us a little bit of better understanding of what we can do in further shows with some of our guests and with you guys too. So it'll be pretty cool.
Teaser.
Yeah.
There was not a PW50 involved in this.
Uh-oh.
Darn
Dude,
it.
already was there monster trucks?
This is why I never made it, because I didn't start on a PW50.
Is the PW50 a classification for being like the next Eli Tomac or Ken Roxon?
In my opinion, it is.
What about like
it's the springboard for many careers.
Okay, well, I'll just so that we can have something to talk about, I'll do an argument's sake here. So I've been seeing a lot of things, and there's this Instagram profile called Pit Bike Heaven.
Okay.
And so the last 3 or 4 posts on Pit Bike Heaven have been Z50s, the one the little Ryan had.
Yeah.
So the big old tires and the big metal gas tank and stuff.
The Honda, yeah.
But they're putting like 12, 14-inch wheels on them with big tires and stuff. These things are like PW50 killers, dude. They are so sweet.
That's what Craig was trying to do back in the day.
I don't know, man. These guys got like one of the dudes put a 450 motor in it.
Oh, jeez.
So I don't know, man. I think they were pretty cool. So something like that, I think, would be pretty cool to have. Agreed. And I just got rid of my pit bike, so maybe there's a new.
You
pit
just start
bike.
over.
Yeah, I don't know if I want to put a 450 motor in it. But.
Yeah, thanks, Joe. Exactly. Memorial Day is for the ones that didn't come home.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
There's not a time for half of the story. Joe whining, so there's not enough time for half of the stories.
Well, hopefully he hangs in there so he can get the surprise.
Yeah, Joe, you got to hang in there, buddy, because we got something special for you, dude. Robert Blanton just gave us the United States flag, so, yeah, we appreciate it, Rob. It's already 6:20 right now, so let's take our commercial break, and we will be right back with the United States flag man himself, Robert Blanton. We'll see you guys in just a sec. Zollinger Racing builds the best aftermarket products available. Products for your UTV or snowmobile, including billet radius rods, billet tie rods, billet steering knuckles, billet steering racks, alternator kits, and much more. All manufactured in the United States in-house at their headquarters in Nibley, Utah. Travis Zollinger and his team test in some of the most brutal conditions, racing in places like the Best in the Desert Mint 400, Ultra 4 King of the Hammers, UTV World Championships, and many more. Visit ZollingerRacingProducts.com and use the code DIRTLIFE to get 10% off your next purchase, and join us on social media at Zollinger Racing Products to see our products in action. Zollinger Racing, the best products, period. Yeah, finally, we got Lance from Solderweld in the studio. Thanks for coming down, bud. Hey, why don't we just record a commercial now?
Yeah, why not? So good to be here, man. It's been a lot. I've been trying to get down here forever, and I wanted to talk about the off-road kit.
Dude, I love those things. I got it in my pack.
Yeah, we're running hundreds of vehicles now running them, whether it's a UTV or some guy's got it in a backpack on his motocross. He's got everything he needs to make a fix right there on the fly, out on the trail, or in the desert, whatever it is.
Well, since I've already used one, I kind of know what to use it for, but explain what it does.
All right, so let's pull one out real quick. You've got your aluminum rods. Remember, they're rods, right? So, light torch, small torch. You can throw it in there or throw it on the rig with your flux. It decontaminates and cleans like, let's say, a radiator. You get a random rock chip runs through as you're racing. You get a rock chip in a radiator. You got to fix it right there or you're out of the race.
You can patch it up.
You can patch it up. It's all good to go.
Yep, just like welding.
Yeah, also as well with that, you've got a brake line fix. So with your flux, you can fix a brake line, stainless steel, and then your hot block, heat absorption putty. So it keeps you from getting burned, number one, as well as keeps the heat from traveling. So it's really, really nice.
I've used this not even to fix anything, so that stuff works so good, man.
Listen, it's easy. It straps in nicely so that you have everything you need in one little place, and you don't have to carry a big bag in
it's
the
It's like a first
truck.
aid kit for your vehicle.
Yeah, Chase trucks have it as well, so that, if they need to make a fix on the fly, they can get it done and get it done quick and get you back in the race.
Dude, those things are so cool. All right, so it's at Solderweld on Instagram, Facebook, and solderweld.com.
Awesome.
All right, thanks, bud.
Appreciate it.
Hello, I'm Justin, the founder of Shock Therapy. Shock Therapy has been around for 5 years, but we have personally been tuning suspension on off-road cars and race vehicles for over 25 years. We tune between 10 and 15 cars per day, every single day of the week. Our concentration is tuning shock systems and supplying components that improve the ride quality of your car in many ways. Not only do we work on the average UTV, but we also tune suspension for race teams and professional drivers. We currently tune for over 87 race teams in Best in the Desert and SCORE. Our clients and race teams rely on our suspension components to allow them to win races and keep them safe. Suspension is a moving target. We are always trying to hit that target with every customer that we work with. Each customer's needs can be different, and we tune our kits accordingly. Our research and development never stops. We improve our components every single day. As the industry evolves and improves, so do our parts and kits. As of right now, we have over 100 products for UTVs. So when you bring your car to us, you have the satisfaction of knowing that you have the most experience, the highest quality products, and the fact that your car is being tuned specifically to you.
Yeah, we are back. Thanks, you guys, for doing 2 commercial breaks with us. We got our man, Robert Blanton, on the line. What's up, dude?
What's up, everybody?
How's things going today? You guys had some fun at the shop. I saw that chopper, whatever you want to call it. Is that a Harley or was that an Indian or?
Yeah, we're building a Harley for a combat wounded double leg amputee, but it's a secret, so keep that on the DL.
Warfighter Maid's always got secrets. They're always doing it up. They always got something awesome going on. Hey,
Nobody heard. Don't worry.
Yeah, nobody heard that. But I wanted to ask you a question before we talk about all the Memorial Day stuff and give props to all the guys that helped us. You had that off-road therapy. I forgot what you called it, but that ride out in Anza the other day.
Adrenaline therapy Saturdays.
Dude, it looks so sick.
Yeah. So Adrenaline Therapy Saturday is all vets, all branches, all eras. We invite them to come out to a purpose-built off-road track, closed course. We put vets behind the wheel of our Polaris Razors.
Yep.
Or if you have your own machine, it makes no difference what it is. As you saw, combat vet Narayan Devone had his home-built pre-runner Toyota Tundra out there.
Dude, they're daily drivers, and they just drove them home, right?
Absolutely. And then we had the Cadillac sedan DeVille, known as the Whoop DeVille, out there. Guys are out there on their dirt bikes, quads, ATCs, whatever. Even if the vet has a competing manufacturer to our sponsors, Polaris Razors, it makes no difference. This is about the vets coming out, having fun, and just getting behind the wheel on an off-road course and letting all those triggers and all those stressors just melt away as you're ripping around the course.
Dude,
that's what it's all about for us.
I think,
awesome.
Yeah, 100%. And honestly, like when I was watching the videos, I felt like I was getting some therapy by watching these dudes like kick so much ass on the course. But one thing I wanted to say to our audience now is Rob's been on the show before. He actually was sitting right here with us. So you can go check that show out. I don't remember what episode it was. Do you, Rob? It was.
I don't either.
It was a few months ago. But anyways, check them out on social media. It's at Warfighter Made, and they have some awesome content, especially the stuff that you've been posting in the last week or so with the event that you did with Warfighter TRV, which is the 5-ton truck that you guys have. That was sweet.
Correct.
And then obviously the adrenaline therapy out in Anza, California. Like, you guys got to go check that stuff out. To see the smile on these veterans' faces was just so awesome.
Yeah, that's what it's about for us. It's all about those smiles. We often say, our success is judged in smiles. So we're doing pretty good.
Dude,
That's awesome.
I can get on with that so much, man, because after I watched those videos, I was smiling. So what's been the last week or so of your guys' work week? What have you guys been working on?
Well, we've been working on that Harley for a double leg amputee. We've finally made our absolute longest running project we've ever had in our entire lives. 5 effing years we've been building this 67 Camaro for a combat wounded soldier, and we finally see the light at the end of the tunnel. We're super stoked about that. I think we're going to make that project our reveal at our 6th annual open house car show that we normally hold in December. I was kind of telling some of the people, like, we've had this car for 5 years.
Dang.
The recipient can wait another 6 months to get this thing, So we have that going on.
Danny showed me a little bit about that last time I was over there at the shop. That thing is killer, dude.
Yeah. And then yesterday we had the honor, last minute, a Marine vet, a buddy of ours named Adam, hit us up and was just like, hey, man, in my neighborhood, there is a World War II veteran that is turning 99 years old. He can't go out and do the things that he normally would do, so they're putting on this huge car show, and they're asking everybody to come on out. Will you bring the TRV, our military 5-ton, or what we call the 5-ton of fun? And I was like, man, this thing we just had it out at ATS. It's still a mess. We're putting in an overhead console with rugged radio and intercom system and some kicker stuff in it. Nice. And I was just like, this thing's a mess, but absolutely, we're going to bring this thing out. And so it was my wife, who, is a retired Marine. Her and I jumped in there, headed out. It was probably about a 20-minute drive from where we're at, and just had a really good time. And if anybody wants to check that out, go to our social media at Warfighter Made, and we got some pictures and video and stuff up there.
That's pretty cool. What was the veteran's name?
The veteran's name, he goes by Dick. His first name was Howard, but he goes by Dick, and just
Dude,
they had him they had him underneath a canopy, and he was just sitting there. He had his big old dark glasses on, and he was just eating it up. I mean, there was like old school hot rods, muscle cars. The fire department came out. The police department was out there. Warfighter Made was out there in our military 5-ton. And then, of course, all the Harley riders and the motorcycle riders, the Patriot Guard riders, the American Legion, they were all out there in force on their bikes. And then there was just a bunch of people, too, just in their cars that were there to pay respects to, World War II veterans. So
how awesome
it was awesome.
That? Yeah, and so what was the, vibe from him? I mean, I don't know if you got to shake his hand or anything, but do you get to see the smile on his face?
No, it was a drive-by. So, I was driving, Halima was hanging out the passenger side, and because of the whole COVID thing, they were like, hey, if anybody, wants to bring presents, that's cool, but please don't stop and offer them up. We'll have people out there. And they actually had neighborhood kids that couldn't have been more than 10 years old running up with these big boxes that had wrapping paper and everything around them, and, just dropping them in the box and take off and stuff. So, we gave them a little Warfighter Made swag with hats and patches and stickers and stuff like that. So, yeah, good time, good vibe. Everyone there was just, so appreciative and patriotic, and it was cool.
That's a really cool event too, especially for someone like that may or may not be able to get out. Like, just seeing the camaraderie is the best part, right? Like, you make one phone call and it turns into God knows how many people showing up. You know what I mean? It's bitching.
They said there was 186 vehicles rolled through there.
Ooh.
So
that's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Who knows how many people were in each vehicle too?
Oh yeah, I mean, there was two in ours with my service dog Ronan, and there was a vehicle behind us which was just like a Sprinter van, but it was loaded with people. So there was hundreds of people that participated, and it was also rad about the whole thing too. Is you're in a neighborhood, so all the neighborhood knows what's going down. So they're outside, they're sitting in their lawn chairs and waving and everything. The kids are just digging it and whatnot. So it was cool.
That does sound really cool, especially having like a parade like that.
Yeah.
So, obviously, we get to have all that fun with the veterans, and you guys do so much for the veterans and stuff like that. I don't want to be Debbie Downer or turning this into a somber mood, but I would definitely like to. I already said a little bit about it before, but I definitely want to pay some respects to the families that are still around, for all the guys that obviously made the ultimate sacrifice for us. Casey and I were talking about it earlier. We get to go play in the dirt all the time. You guys got to go have some adrenaline therapy and play in the dirt, and we wouldn't be doing that without those guys. So we got to give those guys some mad props today.
Guys and gals.
Well, and gals, yeah.
Yeah, Memorial Day, we're really here to remember our brothers and sisters that paid the ultimate sacrifice, and however you do that is how you do that. There's actually a kind of this movement going around right now within the veteran community that it's like, stop shaming non-military people who don't understand what Memorial Day is all about. It's either educate or shut your mouth.
Yep.
and just let people do it the way they want to do it. But in the end, Memorial Day is about honoring, and for me and a bunch of my friends, we actually celebrate the lives of those that are no longer with us. We celebrate the lives of those that paid the ultimate sacrifice, because without those men and women believing in a rad little country called America and standing up for our freedoms and whatnot, then we wouldn't be able to celebrate. We wouldn't be able to do this stuff that we're doing. We wouldn't have a dirt life how we have a dirt life
100%.
Because it would be regulated. So
yeah, it's such a
so
good,
for us.
Sorry, it's such a great point. It's such a great point because
that shaming thing, that's a real thing. And there's plenty of people, they don't know better. They're pouring their heart out saying, hey, thank you to everything. It doesn't mean they understand everything, but you're right. That is something that definitely happens.
Yeah, without a doubt. And it's just, so it's more just like, hey, I appreciate it. And today is the day that we're honoring the lives of those that lost their lives in combat for America.
Right.
And that's really that all that needs to be said. And I'm going to have a toast to that.
That's toast, guys. Yeah. Cheers, Rob.
There we go, right there.
Yeah, thank you very much, man. That's pretty cool, man. And you know what's funny too is that just what goes along with what you're saying right now is your positive belief system. Like you generate all that positive belief through Warfighter Made too, because not only do you help the vets, you help the families that lost their loved ones and stuff too. So there's a lot of stuff that happens behind the scenes that is different than just say adrenaline therapy. It's pretty badass.
Yeah, and we got Gold Star families. A Gold Star family is somebody who lost a son or daughter to combat, and Gold Star families. This is a really tough day for them, but the overwhelming majority of them are 100% positive. And one of my really good friends, Tony Ruiz, who's a Navy vet who lost his son. Who was in the Army in Afghanistan, he posted something today that just said, listen, if you're feeling down, I don't care who you are. If you're feeling down because of today, call me. We can rap, we can talk, we can text, whatever it is that you want to do. And, our Vice President Dom, who's a triple amputee, he always said, he's like, listen, I can be a disgruntled vet with an injury, or I can be a positive vet with an injury. The only thing that's not changing is this injury. So, the whole disgruntled vet thing, it's, when you come to Warfighter Made, positivity breeds positivity.
Yep.
If you want to be disgruntled at Warfighter Made, that disgruntledness, that negativity is not going to last very long, because everyone there has, been there, done that. And, now we're basically living for those that made it possible for us to have these freedoms and for us to live.
Dude, 100%.
Yep.
And also, you forgot to mention, Dom is a badass as well. So props to him. But so Casey,
if anybody wants to check out Dom, go to his social media. It's Dom DOM Music on IG, and triple amputee, missing both legs and his right arm, and that dude plays the drums like nobody's business.
Dude, he does
Dom Music.
Awesome. Yeah, he does more than most people do, like just regular people. It's cool. To go along with what you were saying about Warfighter Made, like if anybody does get the opportunity to go over there, so Case, you'll get along with this really good, is I went down there before, and obviously Rob helps out a lot of veterans and stuff. There's veterans in wheelchairs, there's amputees, there's all kinds of different people, right? But nobody gets special treatment. Like when I walked in there, dude, you gotta have some thick skin to walk in that place, man, because everybody's messing around. Dude, the camaraderie and the way that everybody talks shit to each other is so awesome, man. I got pumped up being there because everybody was treating me like normal. Right. It's so cool because everybody looks at you just like, oh, dude, what's wrong with you? Like, why are you walking around all limping? And that's just me. Like, I'm not even a veteran. And then so when I go in and I get faced with that stuff, it's so awesome.
That's cool.
It actually made me laugh because George was complaining. I think his back was bothering him, and I was like, "Well, you ain't getting no sympathy here." He's like, oh, "You're right."
Yeah.
I was like, "Shit, man." But awesome. Yeah, so all the stuff that you guys are doing over there is really cool, man, and we really appreciate everything. Obviously, you're honoring the veterans, but I'm glad that you cheersed us too, and hopefully you and Halima can have some couple more drinks for the obviously the people that we lost.
Well, I'm getting ready to do a shot right now.
What you got in the cup?
This is a little tequila, but this is for my brothers in the recon community. Never above you, never below you, always beside you.
Cheers. We should have got some shots too. We should have planned that better, man. We'll take a shot after the show. Cheers, man.
This is a shot glass that I liberated
Liberated.
This is a shot glass that I liberated from Saddam's palace in 2003.
Yeah.
His palace in Baghdad. You know, Iraq is a dry country. That's BS. For my brothers and sisters who are no longer with us.
Cheers.
So, everyone, thank you very much for having me on. I appreciate it.
Dude,
Dirt life is real. It saves lives. You know, just enjoy it. Enjoy it.
It really does. Thanks so much, Rob. We really appreciate it. Thank you very much for talking about everything that you guys do, too. So keep up the good work, dude. We'll talk to you soon. I'm going to be out in California in a month and a half, so I'll give you a buzz.
Come see us.
All right, bud. We'll talk to you later, man. Thanks so much.
Take care.
All right, brothers. We'll talk to you.
See you
Later.
Bye-bye.
So that was pretty cool, man.
So much energy. It's awesome. I love it.
You should see when he gives public speeches, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, so Rob is, first of all, he's a badass, and all the guys around him are badasses. If anybody ever has the opportunity to, like, want to get a dose of reality, and I don't mean this in a bad way, I mean this in, like, a realistic way. Like, you don't get sympathy, you get love, you get compassion, and you get treated like a regular person. Go down to the shop. Like,
Yeah,
I don't care if you had a bad day at work. You go down there, and it's like a real place.
Yeah, I take it as I followed him a little bit. I mean, it started at Supercross. I didn't really know a thing about it, and then I saw the stuff they were doing with Supercross a couple years ago or whatever it was, and so it got me interested. And then hearing more of his story when he was on the show. But the way I can sum that up is like he's the guy that says, "Here, come with me and hang out and let me show you how to be a better person."
Exactly. But he'll still kick your ass at the same time.
And not because he's preaching about it. He's just like, he's living that already.
Dude, for real. Yeah, exactly. So,
Awesome. Thanks, Rob.
Yeah, thanks, Rob, for chiming in. So we're going to actually, I know we just went to a commercial break, but we're going to get into Casey's story and talk with some of Casey's old friends, some of my old friends, some of my new friends, some of Casey's friends. It's going to be pretty cool. So we're going to take another short commercial break, and we will be right back with Casey Peck's interview. We can't wait. We'll see you guys in just a sec. Zollinger Racing builds the best aftermarket products available. Products for your UTV or snowmobile, including billet radius rods, billet tie rods, billet steering knuckles, billet steering racks, alternator kits, and much more. All manufactured in the United States in-house at their headquarters in Nibley, Utah. Travis Zollinger and his team test in some of the most brutal conditions, racing in places like the Best in the Desert Mint 400, Ultra 4 King of the Hammers, UTV World Championships, and many more. Visit ZollingerRacingProducts.com and use the code DIRTLIFE to get 10% off your next purchase, and join us on social media at Zollinger Racing Products to see our products in action. Zollinger Racing, the best products, period. Yeah, finally, we got Lance from Solderweld in the studio. Thanks for coming down, bud. Hey, why don't we just record a commercial now?
Yeah, why not? So good to be here, man. It's been a lot. I'm trying to get down here forever, and I wanted to talk about the off-road kit.
Dude, I love those things. I got it in my pack.
Yeah, we're running hundreds of vehicles now running them, whether it's a UTV or some guy's got it in a backpack on his motocross. He's got everything he needs to make a fix right there on the fly, out on the trail, or in the desert, whatever it is.
Well, since I've already used one, I kind of know what to use it for, but explain what it does.
All right, so let's pull one out real quick. You've got your aluminum rods. Remember, they're rods, right? So, light torch, small torch, you can throw it in there or throw it on the rig with your flux. It decontaminates and cleans like, let's say, a radiator. You get a random rock chip runs through as you're racing. You get a rock chip in a radiator. You got to fix it right there or you're out of the race.
You can patch it up.
You can patch it up. It's all good to go.
Yep, just like welding.
Yeah, also as well with that, you've got a brake line fix. So with your flux, you can fix a brake line, stainless steel, And then your hot block, heat absorption putty. So it keeps you from getting burned, number one, as well as keeps the heat from traveling. So it's really, really nice.
I've used this not even to fix anything, so that stuff works so good, man.
Listen, it's easy. It straps in nicely so that you have everything you need in one little place, and you don't have to carry a big bag in
it's
the
like a first
truck.
aid kit for your vehicle.
Yeah, Chase trucks have it as well, so that if they need to make a fix on the fly, they can get it done and get it done quick and get you back in the race.
Dude, those things are so cool. All right, so it's at Solderweld on Instagram, Facebook, and solderweld.com.
Awesome.
All right, thanks, bud.
Appreciate it.
Hello, I'm Justin, the founder of Shock Therapy. Shock Therapy has been around for 5 years, but we have personally been tuning suspension on off-road cars and race vehicles for over 25 years. We tune between 10 and 15 cars per day, every single day of the week. Our concentration is tuning shock systems and supplying components that improve the ride quality of your car in many ways. Not only do we work on the average UTV, but we also tune suspension for race teams and professional drivers. We currently tune for over 87 race teams in Best in the Desert and SCORE. Our clients and race teams rely on our suspension components to allow them to win races and keep them safe. Suspension is a moving target. We are always trying to hit that target with every customer that we work with. Each customer's needs can be different, and we tune our kits accordingly. Our research and development never stops. We improve our components every single day. As the industry evolves and improves, so do our parts and kits. As of right now, we have over 100 products for UTVs. So when you bring your car to us, you have the satisfaction of knowing that you have the most experience, the highest quality products, and the fact that your car is being tuned specifically to you.
Woo, yeah, we're back. So now we're gonna just have some fun.
Yeah, I know, and I need to catch up here. If that's all
on
right.
comments and stuff, you got a bunch of people chiming in.
I do. So real quick, I'm gonna run down. Hey, Mikey, how's it going, buddy?
Yeah, so
Mike
Casey's
says
looking
over-
through all his Facebook
Watch party,
watch party comments and stuff like that.
So Mikey's got a good point. He said everybody had to have a Z50.
A Z50
We
or
were
a
pretty-
PW50?
Well, we think PW50, but we remember the Z50 now, like you're saying. And
I only remember it because our neighbor Ryan Wilson,
yeah, the one that again ran on nitro.
Nitro,
The
yeah,
same
nitro
stuff that's in his
methane.
car, yeah. Jason Boyle, what's up, buddy?
I haven't talked to Jason Boyle in a long time, man.
Yeah, he mentioned he actually worked in the off-road stuff around
ADS and then the shocks, yeah.
Absolutely. He was talking about some of the builders on the show from
He's actually a super good welder, too.
He is. He makes some beautiful stuff. Every now and again, he used to kind of show what's going on. And
dude, I'm still looking at
pretty
this helmet
sweet.
like in awe that we used to wear these
It's
things.
insane. Tim Lime, what's happening, buddy? Mike Truey.
Yeah, we got a bunch of RC guys chiming in. That's cool.
Craig Westfall says Mugen, baby. Absolutely.
Dang. Is that a Mugen car right there?
That is a Mugen car, absolutely.
Yeah. I can't wait to start talking about RC stuff because now that the C19 is kind of chilling out, I'm going to go to the RC track pretty soon.
There you go. C19, I like that.
Yeah, it's way better.
Melvin Valise, how you doing, buddy? Good to see you. It's been a little while. Oh, man, good battles with Ryan Wilson. He's still out that way.
He lives up in Phoenix now.
He does.
I think he lives over like in the Glendale area. He rides all the time too, and he's teaching his sons how to ride.
Yeah, I've seen some of those posts that he does. It looks like he's still getting her done.
I don't know if
It's pretty
Craig's
cool.
building him nitromethane.
I don't know.
Did you get out through all your comments, or you got some more?
Just about. Last one is speaking of being busy with moto. Again, Steve Westfall said he's preparing for 3 weeks of madness.
Dude, it's going to be really madness.
It's going to be awesome.
I was thinking about the logistics for the Supercross season. It's going to be crazy.
Oh, my gosh. Oh, and hi, Mom. Sorry.
Hi, Debbie. Hi, Jim. Hopefully you guys are having a good time watching. And know that I'm going to come over for the
meat pie.
Yeah, meat pie one
It
of
has
these days.
to happen.
So let's in about 4 minutes here, we're going to have one of our buddies that we grew up with calling in. But so today's episode is a little bit different. What we're doing is we're just going to share Casey's story. And so Casey Peck grew up as a dirt life kid. Him and I grew up basically just down the street from each other, almost next door neighbors, but next door neighbors where we lived in the dirt was about 5 acres apart or so. So we couldn't throw a rock to each other's houses or talk over a wall, but you could get there in about 10 minutes.
But enough room that you could have a track at each place.
Yeah, exactly.
Even
so you
better.
Have 2 different tracks.
Yeah.
But Casey grew up in the dirt, and obviously he's parlayed it into a successful career doing fun stuff. He's got a loving family. He's got a really, really loving family when he grew up. They had supported him in all of his dirt life adventures, and now he's passing that on to his girls and with his wife. So it's really cool to see, and we're going to get behind the scenes and talk about all the stuff that he's done. He's done things like he was a professional Supercross racer.
Kind of.
Well, we'll call it kind of. I think you don't give yourself enough credit. I think you did a very, very good job. You made it further than most people from a small town in Arizona. He was a business owner at one point in time, which I really want to get into that. He was a professional RC car driver. He did a lot of, kind of again. So Casey doesn't give himself enough credit. I think you guys will probably be able to figure that out. But and he did a lot for the RC industry, actually, as far as development and stuff goes, because of the things he learned during the motocross times and during the development of all of his dirt life. So it'll be cool to get into all that stuff. So we would like to welcome Casey Peck into the studio. Woohoo!
What's up, everybody? Hey, Russell, how's it going, buddy? You are the man, Russell. I got plenty of Russell stories.
I didn't even see Russell. Russell Wolsting?
Wilson Helm, yep.
So let's start from the beginning, dude. This is going to bring back all kinds of memories for me,
mackerel.
too. So you grew up in a town called Vail, Arizona.
Yeah, so the dirt started for me on a 70. An ATC 70.
How old were you then?
I think I was 5.
Yeah, but we didn't know how to ride a bicycle first, though.
I'm not so sure, actually.
maybe you had the thumb throttle first?
Well, I do know this. I do know Pops. I think I was one of those sick babies.
Oh, really?
Colic or something.
Yeah, I was born with jaundice, too. So I remember a story like that. I think your parents did tell me something like that.
So Dad used to come home, and they were Dooners. They had 185s, 90s, whatever they were when they first. 90s were probably the first. Anyways, he would take me out on the Harley and or the 3-wheeler, as I remember it.
I still don't know how our dads did it, like going down the dirt roads. Oh, really?
This was in town, actually. We lived in town when I was real little, yeah. But, yeah, I know, right? Like, living out there when we were.
On street bikes are freaking crazy.
That's pretty insane.
So, you grew up going to the dunes and kind of doing that stuff, and it was obviously because your parents liked doing that stuff.
Yep, Dad liked doing that. Obviously, Mom liked doing that. And Dad had his own fab business, separate from the family big steel business. He had a fab business, and he built sand rails and weird 3-wheelers that people wanted, drag bikes. They would put you name it, engine in a stretched frame. At the time, they were, like I said, 90s or 185s. I don't even think they had suspension.
But you got to remember back in the day, too, like when people think of fab now, they think of computers and bending and machines and stuff.
Right.
Back then, that wasn't like that. Like if you could kind of get it close and make it fit, that's how you did it.
Yeah, but I think all the stuff he did, he grew up with not a lot. So, in the beginnings of the family building the business and stuff. So I think he had to figure it out too. There's so many stories about the stuff that they did. It was a different time, obviously, but they welded and cut and bent and made all kinds of stuff. So I think it was just a natural progression that if he was building structural things or handrails or wrought iron or whatever, it was easy to say, oh, sure, I can stretch a frame or make a frame or, like I said, make the sand buggy frames and stuff. And there's so many stories that I can think about with that. But that led me into him teaching me how to do that stuff pretty early. I learned how to weld really early.
Yeah, I remember you always had that skill.
It was pretty cool to do. I may not have been great at it in the beginning, but he taught me the basics, and then it was cool to be able to go, hey, I'm going to go fix my bike, but I don't need to tell anybody. Just go do it. Unlock the shop and fire it up. And I'm doing that as,
10, 12 years old. That's just funny if I think about it now. I wouldn't let my girls near that stuff.
Yeah, but there's some people that are like welders now. Like at 10 or 12, you could weld better than most dudes that are going through like welding schools now. It's pretty funny. And like your dad was just like, hey, put this here and just put the trigger. Like,
yeah, here's
figure
your
it out.
hood. He had it all set up for me, gloves and a jacket, and it was pretty cool.
Yeah,
Lots
exactly.
of fun stuff.
Well, we got since we're talking about all the fabrication stuff and we're talking about growing up out in the dirt, we got our buddy John Lavoie on the phone too. He was part of the kids that grew up with us. What's up, B-Rat?
Yeah, so we know him as B-Rat.
What's up?
We know him as B-Rat because his brother said he was a brat.
Yep. So his name to us was always B-Rat. But
Yes.
his name's John Lavoie. He's also grew up in the dirt too.
He did.
You got some funny stories about Case when we were little guys or what?
Oh, boy.
But yeah, Case and you too, bud.
Oh, that's not my show, dude. So what are you up to today?
Oh, just hanging out. We were doing some little Memorial Day kind of relaxing and hanging out with family and just kind of relaxing. We had a pretty busy weekend doing a lot of work stuff around the house. So.
Oh, you had some honeydews to go?
Oh yeah. the wife has been home for a month. So.
Yeah, you got all kinds then.
So B-Rat grew up with us in a town called Vail, Arizona. But now, what town do you live in now, dude? You live up in Washington, right?
Yeah, I live in Ellensburg, Washington. I'm out in the middle of the prairie.
Oh, right. And it's cold up
Nice.
there right now, isn't it?
No, actually, it's beautiful. It's like probably in the high 60s, low 70s today.
Yeah, pretty
Dude,
much.
that's
pretty
like
much
Nice sun.
That's
We
like
pretty much hate
Antarctica
you.
for us,
yeah,
dude.
we pretty much hate you right now.
Oh, awesome, man. Well, do you remember, and Casey will remember this too, so where we grew up, like, it was kind of like we lived on one side. There was what's called the 40 acres. It was
Yep.
like a square dirt road that you drove around, and, like, we would do laps because everybody's house was in a different position on that 40
Yep,
acre.
when we
like-
were allowed to.
Yeah, exactly. If we weren't grounded from
Yeah,
not doing
but-
good in school.
Tell the parents we're going around the 40 acres.
Yep.
Yeah. And
Yep.
how many laps would we do? Like, we'd run out of gas. We would do so many laps.
We had jumps. We had jumps on the side of the road all the way around that damn thing.
Yeah, we did.
It was kind of cool to grow up like that. And that's one of the reasons that we started the dirt life, actually, is because of having the ability to do that. Like, just think of how confined things are growing up in a small neighborhood, like, and just the way that things are today, like in 2020, especially with all this C-19 bullshit going on. Like, how much freedom we had back then. All we had to do was, like, listen for our moms to whistle at
Yep.
6 o'clock or whenever dinner was ready.
Be home at dark
Yeah.
or
Oh yeah, wherever it was dark, that whoever's house we were at is
Yeah.
where we stayed.
yeah. And your dad had the dinner bell, remember? The chuck wagon bell?
Yep.
Yeah, we knew what that meant. If we were playing guns in the wash and we heard that, you better get your butt up.
Yeah, it's time to eat.
Yeah.
Dude, that's so cool. Do you have any funny stories about Case, like when we were doing any of that stuff you're at?
God, how many don't I? There's a couple where we remember Case when we rolled the 200X like the day you guys were selling it.
Yes.
So what happened? It was a three-wheeler and you guys
Yeah.
rolled it?
Yeah, we were messing
Well,
around.
yeah. So
Go ahead. Sorry.
yeah, we were like, let's clean it up because Jim is selling it. We're
Yep.
gonna take it out on one more ride.
Yep.
One
Just
more
Right on
ride.
the hill,
Just
right by
one
your guys'
more.
house.
Just one more.
And Casey lived on like the
We
tallest
flipped
hill in
out.
the neighborhood.
Yep.
Yeah, whip it around the corner and just flipped it.
High side. Yep. And there we go. I'm almost positive for anybody listening, Mom, Dad. I know we had helmets on because we were stupid. Dad said you're not riding without helmets, so we always wore a helmet, but we were wearing Vans and shorts and T-shirts.
Typical.
Yeah, so we were always bloody, but our heads were protected. So I'm sure we had helmets on if anybody's listening.
That's awesome. So was it jacked up? Like, did you guys have to fix
Yeah,
it?
but
or-
here's the best part. So the reason we were selling them was Dad was finally going to get another two-wheeler that he hadn't had forever because we were racing. So he wanted to be able to ride around with us and do a little racing too. So we were going to sell all these three-wheelers. And so we scratch it all up, and B-Rat and I come up with this idea. Well, I'm sure you remember this as soon as I say it. We're like, we'll throw some WD-40 on it. That'll make it look better. And then we're like, dude,
That's right. Shine it up.
The plastics started looking all pretty. So we must have doused. We asked Dad for like 2 more cans. When the dude came to get them, they were It was everywhere, but it looked pro. It was
He tries to sit on the seat and just slides off.
totally. Yep.
Oh, that's awesome. Hey, B-Rat, do you remember? I'm still like, to this day, I'm still in awe. This is not necessarily a story about Casey, but it relates to Casey because you had to go past his house to do this. We had a hill.
Oh, the jump.
Yeah, but it wasn't a jump. It was a freaking hill. Like it was there was no way that you could launch this like on a dirt bike. Like dirt bikes are usually jumps that fit a dirt bike on it.
Right.
This was like a car hill that you could hit at
Yep.
like 70. And I remember you guys telling me, you're like, hey, B-Rat just jumped this jump. And I saw, I was like, what the hell? Like, how do you do that? And he
Right.
was going
Fifth gear
on a
tapped.
CR80, like, as fast as it could possibly go.
Yep.
And launched, like, high-speed Evel Knievel style. It was like a hill to hill, like the biggest.
In the white, he always had that sweet white gear.
And you had to cross through a
Remember that?
wash on your property, like, to
Yeah,
get through
totally.
it. Coming down a hill, like, I don't even know how that's possible. Like, I feel like the stuff that Travis Pastrana did at the Caesar's Palace for that,
Yeah.
like, had nothing on what B-Rat did on his CR80.
And we had the whole neighborhood watching for traffic because at least
Yeah.
we were smart about it.
Yeah, everybody had to watch for cars.
But
Yep.
you had to have two people. You had to have one at the top of
Yep.
your hill, which was like up
Coming
the
the
road,
other way 'cause
and
it was
then
a three-way, yeah.
because it was an intersection, and then you
Yep.
had to have one person way down there. So everybody had different point of views and no freaking cameras.
Yeah, exactly. No cameras. There's no proof.
Yeah, back then the only proof was somebody's word.
Right.
Yeah, like everybody says now, if there's no video, it didn't happen. Like
Yeah, Alfonso says, just one more ride. Yeah, how many times
Dude,
have we said
every
no?
time. But I remember thinking to myself, there's no way that I'm ever going to do that jump. Like, B-Rat's got balls of steel to do that thing. So, did you do that? Did you ever jump that?
Yeah, later on we actually on big bikes stepped it down.
Oh, all the way down
yeah,
that hill?
That was like stupid. I don't know what we were thinking.
I remember.
Yeah, it was ridiculously huge for something that was actually thought out.
Dude, it was probably, I don't know, it had to be over 200 feet.
It was huge. It was
massive.
fully tapped on CR250.
How old were you when you had that CR80 that you like just pinned it on?
Probably like 12.
I was like 9, 10, 12.
Going 200 feet. That's just nuts, man. I just remember it being like, obviously it's probably less distance than that, but my opinion of it at the time when I was so little,
I know, yeah,
I was
you were
like,
a little
dude,
bit, yep.
massive. And
and I remember my dad being so pissed off because he hated two strokes. And I
Oh
was
my
telling him
gosh, he
all the
did.
time.
Yep, he did. Stupid two strokes.
So many times he had to come pick me up because I had fouled plugs.
And he was always in a bad mood. Because they had those XR80s.
Oh yeah, he was so pissed.
And
he hated it that I rode dirt bikes.
Totally. And in his mind, that XR80 was perfect. He just needs a dirt bike. And we're like,
Yeah,
no,
it was
we're
the best
gonna
bike ever.
No, we're gonna go race. That's what we were thinking, even though our parents were saying no. But that's what we had in our mind.
Did you guys remember that that landing of the jump that we're talking about was like a little steep hill? I rolled my dad's skid steer on that thing.
Oh, I totally remember that.
Yeah, I flipped it over and I flew out the front of it. Like, I literally just flew out the front of the tractor and didn't even get hurt. I just walked away. Like,
how did we live through some of this stuff?
I have no idea.
I mean, that's like right down the street from your house, George.
Yeah, it was.
It was on
Like
the property.
If your parents were looking out the window, they would have seen it.
Yeah, I remember the bucket like hit my property, like it was touching my property.
Yeah, it totally was. Yeah, Brian, I agree. So when we go to the bike park and we say that, if anybody says, "Hey, one last,"
Can you read the comments? So
yeah,
that they
I'm
know
sorry,
what we're talking
Brian.
about?
Brian says all my one last ride stories ended up with one of us getting hurt. Absolutely, 100% agree. He says
you never say
Never.
one more time.
Yep. Now he says one last ride is now forbidding from being said. Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yep.
if anybody says that, you just hang it up right then and go eat.
We do. So when we go to the
Like-
bike park and we're thinking that, we know not to say it. So what we say is, you know what? I think I'm good.
Yeah.
That's all we say. We don't say,
Yep.
let's go one more. We
Even
go,
to this day,
Yep.
even at work, I don't say one more time.
yeah, agreed. Yeah, lots of safety things. have
Just
happened.
totally bypass it.
Totally.
Yep. Never say one more time.
That was Brian Hawkins. Thanks, buddy. I agree.
So growing up, though, I personally, B-Rat, I think it was cool to have, we'll call it older brothers like you and Casey, because another good kid that we grew up with was Ray Penske, and him and I were like, I don't want to call it sheltered because we were all crazy, but we would look at you guys, like you and Casey, and say, wow, they did that. We got to step up our game and do
We
that.
got to do it now.
And then following that, like Ray had a little brother as well, David,
Yep.
and he was like ended up being, we'll call it, better than all of us at all the things because he learned from us. So it was crazy to see that, man. Like, I don't even remember like some of the stories. I just remember going around the 40 acres and like going through the dirt and just having such a good time. Like, there was never ever a day that we didn't have something to do.
Right. Yeah, totally.
I think about that now with my own children. Like, when my kids go, I don't know what to do, and I'm like, are you kidding me?
You just start getting triggered.
Yeah, it's like, really? Like, I mean, criminy sakes, we were breaking bicycle forks at George's house at our homemade dirt bicycle track, and I mean, just ridiculous things. Like, and our parents didn't know where the hell we were.
I know, right?
90% of the time.
That's the funny part. And then I have to say this, that your lovely bride just said this. Best quote was from B-Rat's daughter, who's now watching the other room. Pardon my French, Mom, but Dad was a badass.
Sweet.
Thanks, baby girl.
Anytime your teenage daughter can think that about you, you roll with it.
Yeah, dude, B-Rat's gonna be.
Yeah, I'm totally taking that one.
B-Rat's gonna be on that train for the next 2 months.
Oh, I would be.
Damn right.
But that is cool that you bring up that story about breaking the fork. So again,
geez.
going along with the Dirt Life theme, so we talked about this, I don't know, 10 episodes ago or something. Like, most of the kids these days, well, I guess like your kids said, B-Rat, but they'll go to a bicycle track. If you're a kid that likes riding bicycles, and they'll go and they'll race their buddies and stuff like that. Well, unfortunately, where we lived growing up, we didn't have that opportunity. We literally went out and shoveled for weeks at a time to be able to give ourselves the opportunity to ride these tracks. The funny kicker in this story, though, is that we had no idea what we were doing.
No.
And we would make jumps that were way too big or way too small, and we would either clear them or not make it and break stuff all the time.
Yeah, remember when I was able to – so my dad wouldn't let me borrow the tractor.
Because even though you were going to build too big.
I could operate. He taught me that super young too, right? But now we're not doing that. So I swindled Dean Showers of Dean Showers Concrete, who lived down the street, who had equipment. Dean, can I borrow your Bobcat? Sure. That's Jimmy's kid. He'll be fine in it. So you know what happened there. So now all of a sudden our little shoveled tracks turned into these giant, and if I can run a backhoe, I can run a Bobcat. That was my that's how I thought about it. And yeah, we built those ridiculous tabletops and pits and doubles, and anyways, go ahead. Yeah, the forks.
So
yeah, that was when we didn't have much, so we pieced together whatever kind of a badass bicycle we could.
Right.
And coming up to a jump, and I went airborne. My handlebars went north, and my wheel went south.
I can totally picture it.
I thought you were dead.
And I remember landing on the ground with my handlebars still in my hand.
I seriously thought you were dead, dude, because you hit your head so hard. Like, you didn't have your hands.
And back then, none of us wore helmets.
You didn't have your hands.
Well, hold on. Let me help with that. On the motorcycles, we did, because remember, that was my point with my pop, was that he goes
always.
That's correct.
So, but
on bicycles.
But that's the funny part, is that we were doing more stupid stuff on bicycles, no helmet.
100%.
Where's the logic there?
So we had
we were idiots on bicycles.
So we had Everett Wincoop chime in, and he said, "What about the gravel pit down by the wash?
Oh my gosh,
had a little
Everett.
track out there."
Everett, we brought Everett's 125. That was my first 125 from Everett. How's it going, buddy? That's like a jillion years ago. Hope you're doing well.
So we got even better. We live kind of down the street from that right now, Everett, and I took Casey out there on the mini bike, and we do a little bit of side-by-side, like Yamaha YXZ testing down there. We actually taught Casey's daughter, Lily, how to drive a Yamaha YXZ down there and manually shift it down by the gravel pit. It's funny because they actually have a pretty cool mini bike track down there now.
I think Everett built most of that stuff.
Oh, he did?
He was always down there. That's how I found out about riding down there.
Yeah, Everett, comment in if you can and tell us, because there's little berms over there, and there's little mini whoops and stuff, and then you can go up on a side hill. I actually got a lot of people asking me where that mini bike track was when I posted on social media. I didn't give it away; it's still secret.
Yeah.
But it was pretty cool to see people that liked it. So Maybe you get the props for building that bad boy. Who knows?
Yeah, definitely.
Do you remember that place, Beer? We used to call it the Pits.
The Pits.
The Pit. Yeah, oh yeah.
And we always had to worry about the ranchers.
The biggest thing that always stuck with me is the castle track. I mean, because
yeah, of course.
I mean, shit. We all cut our teeth on the castle track.
We did.
And of course, everybody and their mother built the damn place.
So that
right. Everybody else built it, right?
Let's give a little bit of backstory to this castle track, right? So we lived way out in the country at the time. It's got a lot more houses out here now, and it's a town called Vail, Arizona, and there's a railroad track that runs basically along I-10, which is close to our houses, and it goes all the way across the country. But in this certain area, it's through the hills, and there's like some mines out there, and there's some really cool bridges, and there's a castle out there.
Yep.
Somebody built a legitimate castle, and so we called this track that was made out there by the McCoskies and the Winings and Eric Hanna and everybody that we are friends with. And they basically built this dirt bike track off on this, I guess it's rancher's land maybe?
No,
it's
an old clay pit.
Yeah, so it was dusty as shit. But so as we grow up, like the track was a little bit more than we could handle at the time because they were a little older than us, the guys that were building it.
Right.
And so we grew up riding this track. It was like our stomping ground. And I remember
I believe Casey's first broken bone was at that track.
Really?
It absolutely was. Yep, broke my wrist.
The broken wrist.
Yep. I tried to. It was a quad. It was a double. It never was.
Dude,
it
was a quad for you.
Later,
I couldn't believe it.
Way later that was, but
it was a double.
It was a double, and I went 3 on accident. Well, I faced it. I faced 3, and it was ugly. It was like the most beginner thing you ever seen in your life.
What bike were you riding? It was 125.
And Jim got the most horrible footage of it.
Yep, Dad had it on film.
Was he like a good filmer, or was it all over the place?
He's usually using the other eye.
We caught the face.
Yeah.
when
right.
he hit the face, then the camera went to the ground.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because he was running.
That happened a lot. Yeah, I guarantee we still have that VHS somewhere.
That's awesome. What's I can't read some of those comments.
Oh,
Casey,
no goal says Brogan doesn't want to be left out. Daddy's awesome.
It looks like your
Absolutely.
mom commented it too over here.
She did. She's talking about a wash party we did for my birthday one year. We'll have
what
to talk
wash
about
was that in?
So remember where the track was? The track ended up being
which track?
The Supercross track.
My
down
Supercross
there,
track,
down below your house.
Well, way back when I was into G.I. Joes. So that was probably like 6 or something. So for my 6th birthday, 7th birthday, yeah, right? Maybe, yeah, it was probably 7 or 8, actually.
Are G.I. Joes cool now?
I remember
Yes, of course they are.
We had like tunnels to crawl through.
We did. Dad, I mean, as a a hard worker, that guy worked himself to the bone, and somehow he found time to build us a freaking an obstacle course that we had this G.I. Joe birthday on. It was amazing.
I don't remember that.
It had you had to jump over a water pit, and there was ramps. It was awesome.
It was like a.
Well, I want to say we were like 8. So
yeah,
George,
that sounds
you
about
been,
right.
What, like 6?
Yeah, probably. So that's probably
6,
why you don't
7?
remember.
So yeah, George, you were tiny.
Right.
I was probably amped though.
Yep. Buckethead. That's Ryan. He's one of the originators. He says at the Castle Track.
Dude, really? Yeah, I have so many memories from that place. I remember because the track never changed that much, right? It wasn't like it was, and it got rougher and it got different jumps and stuff on it. But it's like you can almost tell your evolution, right? Like you start out at this 80 beginner stage, and then you get to the 125 intermediate stage or whatever it is, and all these years that go by. And I remember seeing because again, you and Beer Out were always way better than us. We would look at you guys and be like,
well, I don't know about always, George.
Well, you guys decided to give it up and be smart. I'm the one that was dumb.
You passed me up not too long after you got on big bikes, bud.
Well, we all had a good time. Let's put it that way. But anyways, I remember when we were on 80s and stuff and looking at you guys at the Castle Track, there was 2 things that always stood out. Since this show is about Casey, 2 things always stood out about Casey at the Castle Track. Well, actually, let me take 3. The first one was climbing some of those freaking hills by the mines.
Yeah, those
gravel. Dude, I couldn't believe that you had enough skill to make it up those things.
Those were dumb.
And it looked like you could
we always went down first.
Oh, is that how it was? I was never that smart. I tried to go up.
Yeah.
No, if you can make it down, you can make it up.
There you go.
Dude, we should go by that from now on.
Yeah, I
you
like
can make it down. You can make it up.
That's good.
Okay, so and then the second one, I'll just say because it's the easier one, but it was still super gnarly. Is at one of those gravel pits, there was a ledge that Casey would drop off, and this ledge was probably 20, 30 feet high, but you like, I don't know how you did it. You got enough speed that would push you forward, and it didn't like smack down on the suspension. It was still gnarly, but I was like, dude, there's no way I'm going to ever do that. And then finally, like 3 years later, I tried it, and it was so painful.
Nice.
And then the third one was, do you remember where we used to park beer at? Like, we used to park like kind of in the center of the track where that little double was and that tabletop. Well,
Yep.
I don't know
the one
who
he
made
watered
it.
himself on.
Oh, yeah, that's right, huh?
Yep.
I don't know who made it, but there was a cliff jump that was right there that was, I don't know, the jump was kind of mellow going up, but then at the top there was like 4 or 5 feet of actual cliff. And it was probably a 20 or 30 foot tabletop. It wasn't that big. But Casey decided to make a cliff jump out of it that would rival any crusty demons of dirt these days. And he was probably hitting it, what, second or third gear on a 125 or 250 and going 20 feet higher than what the actual jump was? Do you remember that?
Yeah, that sounds about right. Yep.
That thing was, who made that jump?
I think probably Gary.
Because it was gnarly.
Yeah, I'm sure it was somebody who never actually jumped it.
That's what I was gonna say. It was probably Gary going, yeah, dude, I did that last week, but he actually didn't.
Yeah, dude, you can totally crush it. Just hit it.
That's totally
Just
Gary.
hit it. You're good.
Thanks, Gary.
You got it, no problem.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
those were the 3 things that I remember. And then later on down the road, there was like 3 singles that were at the end of the track. Like when you come around for your last lap, there was 3 singles that nobody ever jumped. And then finally, I think Casey or somebody doubled the last 2, and we were like in awe that it was so huge.
And that quad, that was dumb.
I still
The quad was the big one. When everybody started doing the quad, I was like, okay, I'm out.
Yeah, that was dumb.
I don't think I ever did that.
That was kind of about the time that you and you know George and Casey and everybody kind of started like walking away from me, and I was like, okay, yeah, I can't do this stuff.
Some of those jumps were pretty gnarly, man. So all that stuff, though, it really gives you a piece of understanding or a peace of mind as to the go-getter attitude. I don't know, determination, whatever. I don't know what the correct word is, to prepare us for the rest of our lives.
Determination is the best.
Yeah, to prepare us for the rest of our lives. Because it's like, okay, if I'm going to go ride a bicycle, if I'm going to go get groceries, I'm going to do groceries hard.
Yeah,
like,
right.
You know
exactly.
what I mean?
Yeah. Unfortunately, that's
Well,
how
yeah,
we got
I'll
wired.
tell you, when it comes, I think about those kind of things when we were kids, and you know, yeah, they were stupid and we were morons, but I wouldn't change any one of them for the world.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Because they have all kind of created who we are as people.
No doubt.
You know, I mean, all of us have that kind of like, you know what, I don't give a shit. I'm going to take a big pile of dirt and I'm going to make a big ass jump out of it. And that's just life.
Yeah,
Right.
that's a really
Make
good
something
point.
out of nothing and do the best you can.
Yeah, because even if you
Yeah,
do get down on,
Mm-hmm.
that's
You know, I'm going to take whatever is thrown at me, and I'm going to make something out of it. And all of us did that.
Yep.
You know, we took a road that was something that people used for driving to their house and said, hey, let's make a freaking 80-foot double out of it. I mean,
It really was, man. That was just insane. I still think about that. I haven't been out there in a long time, though. Have you guys checked that place out, Case?
I had. It's funny because it all seems all worn down now.
Oh, like it was way bigger?
Yeah.
Is that our mindset, or is it actually worn down?
I think it actually is worn down. I mean, it's 30 years of rain and driving.
Yeah.
And people, you know.
Not taking those roads.
Probably
well,
probably a little bit of both.
That corner. The corner down by Tussie's house where we used to jump for
Tussie's
hours
house.
on end.
Yeah, bonkers.
So does anybody?
Yeah, Bonkers Hill.
Exactly. So we had names for all these jumps and stuff, and we should have people chime in though too. Like Everett is chiming in right now, but chime in if you guys had like fun stuff to do when you were kids, even if it was in the woods or wherever it was. We would name these little areas in certain sections, like on corners of roads and different things like that. Like you and Beer, I just said we called one place Bonkers. I don't know why we called it Bonkers.
No
idea.
Ray came up with that one.
Oh, okay,
You're right,
cool.
he did.
So Ray came up with that one, and we always had the angry neighbor that hated dirt bikes and hated kids, and he always come out like chasing us with yielding a weapon by his side, like trying to scare us.
And a bullwhip.
Yeah, exactly. He was just trying to get at us kids, man. So
yeah, he definitely hated us, and it didn't change when we turned 16 and we're driving our cars doing freaking sliding, drifting around his corner by his house.
Well, I guess they can't blame him if we think about it.
Yeah, how pissed would we be if somebody was doing that in our neighborhood these days, right?
Yep, totally.
What did Everett say right there?
Everett said, yeah, it was just a bunch of odd hills of dirt that he started riding around and made a track.
Oh, perfect. Yeah.
Yep.
So the track is pretty cool, especially for mini bikes now. The fun things that we did, man, like you just mentioned, B-Rat, like we were bonkers ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that's why Ray named it that, because
Probably.
he was like, I don't want to hang out with these dudes; they're too crazy.
I think it had something to do with a candy. I really do.
Oh, really?
I think it was a candy that he liked.
It's
Isn't that
so
funny.
It really is funny to think about all these stories. Like, we're trying to be all mature and host a show in a podcast and all this stuff, but we're really just kids at heart.
Totally.
Yeah, we're all just a bunch of idiots.
For sure.
For sure.
You got any more funny stories or anything that you can think about? Birat, the one thing that I wanted to talk about with Casey is, do you remember that Supercross track that him and his dad built at the bottom of his property?
Oh my God, that thing was nuts.
It was nuts.
Like I said, like there came a point where I realized that I was nowhere near what you guys were doing. And after Jim built that track and watching Casey laps on it, I was like, good God, this is ridiculous.
I remember.
I shouldn't be out here. I should just be watching because I'm nowhere near what these guys are doing.
Some of the skill set that Casey possessed, though, like when he was going around that Supercross track, like I remember first of all, I saw the whoops and I was like, Jesus Christ, these things are massive. Like
those were insane.
And when Casey
it was like a rhythm section. It wasn't a whoop section. It was a rhythm section.
But they got it like I was little, but I felt like they were like 6 feet tall. They were massive.
Huge. Yeah, well, I kept telling him.
They were like
bigger.
3 feet deep.
They were. Yep. I told him he built a set, and after riding with Jimmy Button and him like teaching me how to do whoops because I was tall like him.
He's like lean back. That's
yeah.
it.
All of a sudden, I got really good at him, and Dad was building the jumps, and I'm like, they're not big enough, and he got mad at me.
He's like, all right.
And the funny thing is, I don't know what I was doing. I was in between. Actually, I know what I was doing. I was going back to the Casa Grande Supercross track that we had built. And I was going to go ride there another day. And so I saw what he was doing. He was making it all cool. And then I was a smart aleck and said, those aren't big enough. And I left. And when I came back, he just had those monster things. And, yeah, that made such a difference for me when it was my first time to go actually race a real Supercross. And those whoops.
And that was ridiculous because it was like that crazy whoop section and then like a 180-degree corner.
Big triple.
And there was like a 60-foot double or triple right after it.
Yep. It was.
I know, and perfect. I remember some of those doubles and triples that Casey had were you didn't have a straight run at them or a straight landing either.
It was really technical. It was awesome.
It was cool. Your dad, like I don't know how he built that. Like he's like Dirtworks crew.
He
man.
is. He's the. I've never seen anybody operate a piece of equipment better than him.
Dude, he did a really good job.
Yeah, seriously. To this day, like I've dealt with a lot of operators and equipment movers, and Jim Peck is still the magician of everybody I've ever seen on a piece of equipment.
Agreed.
Dude, some of the places that he could turn in and out of and get, like, I was just amazed. And, I still remember that track, like, looking at it, going, I should just give up. Like, I'm done. Like, I'm never going to be able to ever race Supercross in my whole life because there's no way I'm going to do it as good as Casey's doing it.
That's funny.
Yeah, that's exactly how I felt, but I was even slower than you.
Yeah, it was cool to see though. You got to give like Casey props though, because like for him to be the one that has little to no guidance, like we're the lucky ones because we get to see him being faster than us, right? Like it's easier for us to go through that. But he didn't have. Well, I mean, he had a couple people, but they were far away. Like, so he had to do it by himself.
I had Justin.
Oh, dude, I honestly, I
sure.
credit. Yeah, I credit like 80% of my abilities on a dirt bike to Casey and the stuff that he's gone through.
Absolutely,
because
I agree.
What he learned transferred to me.
Yep, I agree with that 100%. Yeah, that's true, because you did have a little bit of help from Justin,
Yeah,
right?
I had a lot. He kind of took me under his wing, and when I was intermediate, and was like, "Hey, let's get fast." And then he needed somebody else to ride with too. So I think it worked in both of our favors, except for, like it always happens, the slower guy ends up getting faster.
Yeah,
and then
the teacher becomes a student. Or
I mean,
whatever,
yeah,
student becomes a teacher.
Not completely, because obviously Justin was at a better, higher level than I was, but.
He's still awesome on a dirt bike.
Yeah, he's a great
And so
rider.
if you guys haven't seen, we did an episode with Justin McMurch, and he had brought in his CR500 two-stroke that he rebuilt, and David Pingree. I forgot what it was early on, maybe episode 8 or 9. So go check that out if you guys haven't seen it. And he's an awesome dude. He's a cancer survivor, and he's been through a lot. So super cool guy. That's cool that you had that though.
Definitely. So hey, Beer. So Kevin Fleming, your brother-in-law, he's piping in a couple things here. So he says. I'm afraid to ask, but he says, "Have you guys heard about Pearl Jam?" I don't know if I want to know that. And then
what's Pearl Jam?
And then he's laughing, so I probably don't want to know. And then he's
he's a little buzzed right now.
He's setting you up. He's setting you up.
He's who I was hanging out with this afternoon.
Setting you up for failure on that. So maybe we'll skip that one. But he's talking about a place called Will Shugel, the best track in Washington. No one ever hears about. So here's what we know about. What I didn't know for a long time, but B-Rat's in-laws, his wife and brother-in-laws, they were involved with what was it BBR? B-Rat?
With BBR, yeah.
BBR.
So they lived right next door to the Browns.
Remember those guys that did those awesome four-strokes?
Yeah, well my mini bikes that I built are
there you
almost
go.
all 100% BBR.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
Dude, I got to get a discount then. What the heck?
Nicole used to babysit. My wife used to babysit Dwayne, who is the owner.
Nice.
That's awesome.
Dwayne's kids, and they grew up together. And then Kevin actually rode for BBR. He rode like TTR 125s and stuff for them, and he's ridden at Glen Helen and Washougal before on BBR TTR 125s.
Awesome.
Dang, that's crazy.
For sure.
BBR is all mini bike stuff.
Hey Naomi,
now.
how's it going? Yeah, that's cool.
All right, BR. Hey, we're gonna get going, dude. I'll let you get back to your family, have some dinner, whatever you guys got to do. We're gonna switch gears, and we're probably gonna talk about a little bit of more motocross stuff, like when Casey got the Supercross, and then we're gonna start talking about RC stuff and have our buddy Adam Gray call in.
Quick question: which helmet is that on the counter there?
This one right here is. What year was this?
This is 90. This is 96. This is what I unfortunately had to put together real quick 2 weeks prior to Supercross debut because my gear all got stolen. Gear got stolen.
I remember that. I remember you always had the baddest helmets, dude. Like,
so
for some reason, you always had the coolest shit.
So
yeah, when he always. I hope Joe Whining is watching. So. You remember that the visor or the mouthpiece that we were talking about earlier, B-Rat, that Shoei had like a Troy Lee had like a mouthpiece?
Troy Lee made it, yeah.
And you're talking about Casey's badass helmets. He's got a surprise for Joe.
So Joe helped me out when this is like actually pretty much after I had quit.
I don't know if you're watching on video, B-Rat, right now, but
yeah. So remember the blue one that we did? I wanted to do it all Herbie the Love Bug style, just cheesy retro stripes.
Oh yeah, it's the 511.
It is the 511, but it has that Troy Lee
mouthpiece on
funky mouthpiece on it.
That was like
chrome
best thing ever back then, though, dude.
It really was. But yeah, each one of these has some memories. This thing owns
the skin marks on the top of that thing. It wore down through the fiberglass.
It did. This thing owns 2 of my broken collarbones.
Oh,
one on the mountain bike and one moto.
Put it so you can see this part on the camera as best you can.
Big Joe's custom. So Joe painted that for me. I don't know if we can see it at all.
He still has the Big Joe's customs in the Troy Lee font on the side.
Yep.
I remember the mountain bike broken collarbone. That was at the race at
the downhill
Sunrise,
/ dual slalom race. Yes, absolutely.
Yep. I remember that.
Yeah, that was fun.
Dude, it's so cool to see all that stuff. All right, B-Rat. Well, we'll let you go. Get back to your family. Now that your kids think you're the best thing on since sliced bread, go just bask in it, dude.
I appreciate
you have
that.
to.
Thank you. Dude, honestly, I love you guys. I watch all the time, and it brings nothing but fond memories back when I was a kid, talking to you guys and watching the show.
It really
Same
does.
to you,
Like
buddy.
we had a comment come in earlier, yeah, and we appreciate all the support. We had a comment coming in earlier that the only thing missing from these conversations is a campfire and some beers. So I couldn't agree more.
Yeah,
but
right.
you had the campfire and the beers earlier, so you're a little bit ahead of us.
That I did.
Yep.
All right, homie. Well, thanks so much for joining us tonight. We really appreciate it, and say hi to the family.
Yes, sir.
Will do. Thank you, guys.
Courtney says, "Love you, B-Rat." Say,
Hey, I love you too, guys.
say hi
Bye.
to the family.
All right.
See you, buddy.
Later.
Will do. Bye.
Dang, that was cool to just reminisce about all that stuff. All right, so we're having fun talking in these conversations, but in all seriousness, you did very, very good racing dirt bikes. You may or may not have had the opportunity to go to amateur nationals or win amateur nationals like a lot of the kids do these days. But you had enough opportunity to be able to have your family support you. You had let's get Adam on real quick too. So we got Adam Drake calling in. Adam, what's going on, dude?
What's up?
Adam, can you hear us, bud?
Yeah, what's happening, guys?
Sweet. How's it going?
Good. How are you guys?
Good.
We're doing awesome, man. We both got like smiles ear to ear
Yeah.
right now because we're talking about all these fun times that we had growing up as kids and stuff. We're not quite in the timeline of Casey moving to the RC car stuff, so bear with us and talk with us a little bit about or you can listen to some of the stories we're going to talk about him making it to Supercross, because you may or may not have heard some of these stories, so it might be kind of cool. We were right on the timeline of like Casey getting like to the point where he's getting ready to turn pro on a dirt bike, and his dad gave him the choice. What did he tell you?
Yeah, he gave me the opportunity to. I mean, we all worked pretty hard to try to do what we could do, and they always supported me in whatever my dreams were going to be, and he gave me that opportunity to quit all work, and just he'll pay for everything for a year for me to try to give it a go. So
That's awesome.
yeah, so that was pretty cool. And the funny thing is, there's a funny George story with this, and it goes back to that, like all those guys that had that PW50 or that, amateur career that, so I didn't have that obviously. And I think for me, it was one of those, like, I've always been the guy that's like, if somebody says you can't do it, well, I'm going to do it.
Yeah, 100%. Or
Right.
learn
Yeah,
how
for
to do it. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So with that said, George and I were pretty close, and we raced together, and so I was going to do one last amateur national. I was going to go to Ponca as an intermediate, and race that race, whatever. Long story short, I went up to do some practice starts the day before we were going to go, and some kid somebody was there, and it got me all crazy, and I decided to go do a couple laps to show this kid up, and which was stupid because I was literally going to go just to do starts.
Yeah.
Because it was the same concrete start. Anyways, I broke my wrist. I didn't get to go. So fast forward a little bit that was heart-wrenching and heartbreaking, whatever, but I already had my mindset that I was turning pro. And Supercross was coming around the corner, so we were going to do everything we could to make it happen. But we were heading out to go meet Ryan, I think, and Craig, possibly Taylor out at Kolb. Mm-hmm. And your dad was driving us. So he was going with you, and I just happened to ride along because I'm in a cast hanging out. We're buddies. Yeah. And you piped up to your dad, and you go, "Hey, Dad, Casey's turning pro at whatever the end of the year." And your dad, excuse my language, goes, "Are you shitting me?" Just like that. And I took that as, I love your dad, I love you guys, but I took it as that was one more person saying I couldn't do it.
Oh, that's a motivation.
It just turned it up like another 3 notches. Was like, okay, it's all good. I'm going to do my best and do what I can. And
I wonder what my dad's point of view was. It was probably like, George, you need to go faster. If like Casey's doing it, you got to do it.
I don't know. I'm sure it was in good humor, good natured or whatever. But again, I took it as, well, that's unexpected, meaning I don't know that you should do that.
Yeah.
And then to me, it was like, no, it's happening.
Yep.
You know what I mean? I got this one chance, and I'm doing it. So
that's pretty cool. And then so to fast forward, because it's interesting, but we don't have a million years to keep talking about it. You made it pretty far you did well in Supercrosses. You made the night shows, and you were able to do pretty good. Like, both of our goals was to get a 2-digit number.
Yeah, I wish.
Unfortunately, we didn't have, I want to say not enough opportunity, but we didn't have enough speed or opportunity to be able to do it. And sometimes it just happens that way, right? Like,
right.
You get older, whatever happens.
Sure.
But you made it to a point especially from a kid from a small town, to be at a level that almost nobody gets to. So even with my dad saying that, whoever's talking to you, giving you all this motivation, it must have felt pretty good to be able to have that speed and to be able to reach that level.
Yeah, it was awesome. And again, like I said, a lot of people were there along the way to help me. I feel like, just a lot. God's been good to me in a lot of things and everything. And a lot of these things just came out of, as you rewind, you go, that none of that stuff was accidental.
Yeah,
it wasn't an accident that we were doing that track with Jimmy Button and he mentored me. It wasn't an accident that I met Justin and he took me under his wing, and so on and so forth. And the same thing with Adam, meeting Adam in that next chapter of my life.
Yeah. So we'll talk about that chapter, but give yourself a little bit of credit too, because these people like Adam, Justin, Jimmy Button, all these people, they wouldn't have done this for you had they not seen the drive that you had or seen the amount of motivation that you had to be able to achieve these things.
Sure.
Your dad would have never gave you the opportunity to do it if you're a slacker.
All right.
You know what I mean? So
That's true.
It's a well-rounded circle of support mechanisms and motivation from you too. So, all right, well, let's fast forward on to the next step in life. I don't know if you know this, Adam, but he has a loving family. He has a wife named Courtney. He has a daughter named Lily and a daughter named Shelby.
Yep. Know them well.
That happened, and then obviously you love your family and stuff, but we're going to talk about the next dirt life portion of it. So shout out to your family.
Yep,
and,
of course.
It was RC car racing.
Yeah, it's funny. It's and I would bet Adam could speak to this too, because he's done something that he's been passionate about forever. And he also grew up, which I can't wait to get into in a couple of weeks, of his moto upbringing too. But what I'm getting at is, so you go to that thing and you're focused on everything that you lived for all those growing up years or whatever, and then it
like
changes.
Dirt bike racing?
Right, it changes all of a sudden. And again, for me, that's God leading my path, and I'm okay with it. But it's still, when it happens, it's such a shock that things change. That like for me, I was trying to fill that competition that I've had forever, and I did some more mountain bike stuff. That's another subject. Built some bikes and whatever, and got hurt doing that a few times too. And then so that was another reset. And then again, because things are supposed to be how they're supposed to be, I went down to the hobby shop just to get a monster truck to play around with.
Yeah, just to play in the dirt.
And luckily for me, when I went down there, they were racing 10-scale gas truck, which Adam is the man for that. And it kind of just went from there. And all of a sudden, I was like, wow, I can race and not, hurt myself.
Yeah, exactly. So let's take a step back real quick. So the people that are in our audience that may or may not know, the person on the phone line with us is Adam Drake, and we're sorry that you had to listen to us just babble, Adam. But
oh, no, I'm enjoying it.
And so Adam is an RC car professional himself. We're going to have Adam on the show, I think, 2 or 3 weeks, coming up pretty quick.
Yeah, a couple weeks.
And so Adam's going to be on the show. We're going to get his story. We're going to talk about some fun stuff that Casey has done. But we wanted Adam to chime in, too, because this next journey or part of Casey's life story is pretty freaking impressive. And I think Adam can give a little bit of props to Casey's motivation and drive, because Casey kind of did the same thing that he started out with when he did dirt bikes. I just mentioned that we all looked up to him, and we had a platform to chase, a person to chase, and get better at dirt bikes. And in RC car world, he did the same thing. He didn't have anybody to chase. He had to do it all himself and to learn it all himself. But I think it laid down a better understanding of how vehicles work, how dynamics work, how engines work, and how all these different things in the RC car industry work. And you are good at figuring things out. So you just figured it out as quickly as possible and try to get to the top level as quick as possible. But maybe you can bring us through some of that.
Yeah, and the biggest thing is to use your smarts, right? Someone's already figured this out somewhat. So you do the best you can and work hard to get it figured out. But at the same time, there's guys like Adam that are like the masters of this already. So you don't want to go ruin those guys by bothering them with every 2 seconds. So you struggle, you do the best you can. And Adam's always been a guy, I mean, we just were out racing in California because that's what we did with moto, right? So when we got into RC and we're like, hey, let's go to California. That's where all the fast guys are, just like for moto.
But you didn't know who Adam was when you first started, right?
I knew who Adam was because of the magazines, and because that's one of my downfalls, I would say, but it's also a positive, is that when I get into something, it's like
all in.
Oh my gosh, it's insanity. So of course
I think Adam can probably speak to
probably
that. He's pretty all in when he gets into it.
So at any rate, I definitely knew who the players were, and Adam was always there at those races in SoCal, just obviously at the top, but also one of those guys that was approachable, and he was just there to help, and just being there every other weekend or whatever, we just started a friendship, and it just blossomed from there. And again, what my point to that was is if you have that person in the industry that's there and willing to help you, whatever it is you're doing, whether it's being an electrician or whatever, you gravitate to those people because you want to learn. And to a huge credit to Adam, is he's one of those teachers and helper. So
well, yeah, but on the other side of the spectrum though is he wouldn't have done it had he not seen the drive again.
Correct. That's the key thing, is like, I mean, you're being in the position that I've been in, you're wanting to help everyone, but you also want to help the people that want it themselves the most, that they're going to put in the effort. I mean, Casey driving down to Southern California to race all the time, and trying to get Billy Fisher or Ryan Mayfield or any of these guys to load up with him and come down for just a one-day series type race. It really showed that he had the drive, that he wanted to take this as far as he possibly could, with his moto background, line selection and setting up the vehicles, and you knew he kind of had that knack for it. So I feel like I kind of have that drive as well. So it's like we kind of hit it off and became super close friends, and shared a lot of really, really great memories together.
That's a really good tie into what we're going to talk about too, is so let's just take a step back real quick. You achieved a lot in the RC car world because of your drive and your motivation. You figured out how to work on the cars, and they're not easy. Like, for anybody that thinks an RC car is easy, you go buy a Radio Shack. These are not. These are like real cars. They have real tuning aspects to them. They have all the same configurations that a normal car would, and they're a lot harder to drive because you have to do it with a little joystick, right? Sure. So there's a lot of skill involved, and there was a lot of competition involved as well. So that's what gave you the motivation to do it, because you had a lot of the same things, you just didn't get hurt. Yeah. So right. To fast forward a little bit to what Adam's talking about, is you made it to a pretty high level, and you were learning from some of the best. Like, you learned from Jimmy Button in dirt bikes, and now you have a mentor like Adam to be able to show you. And Adam's at the highest level. He's been at the highest level of the RC car world for a very long time. And again, we'll get into his story in a couple weeks. You have somebody like that. Now, you've never had that in your life, except for at little times, like here and there. Like, I always had it with you. Always. My whole time that I was growing up, I always had somebody that was better and faster. You didn't all the time, and now you do. Right. Yeah, no, I see what you're saying. I definitely get it. And again, all that stuff helped me get to, a level, a decent level that I could get to. And I would think some of those... Dude, you're too humble. You're really good at RC cars. Well, yeah, okay, so I'm okay. But then there's that whole nother level. And what was so rewarding to me, it really was that I got to that, to the level that I could get to, and I could still enjoy it. But then I also got to be behind the scenes at the very, very top. And that was like even more rewarding for me, because being able to be, a key person or a pivot person when Adam's championships were happening. Though I'll never forget that stuff. Like, okay, you win a race, that's cool, but like this kind of stuff, you never. Let's let Adam talk a little bit about that, and we'll have him talk about how you helped in that. But I want to, when he's done, I want to hear why you enjoyed it, because a lot of it I think has to do with you figuring out how to weld at 11 kind of stuff. Yeah. So do you remember any of those stories, Adam?
Yeah, a couple of them. No, I'm just showing. Yeah, I remember all. Of course he does. I remember all of them, and what's crazy is too, like, for Casey to say that, it was cool for him to kind of share in those moments, and and the highest level, like Casey was just as important of a key component in that as my driving my vehicle, my engine, whatever. You know, it was a team effort, like especially on the nitro side of things. I mean, yeah, they're RC cars, but the fuel strategy, tire strategy, I mean, even the stuff Casey would do to kind of sacrifice his own racing to help myself, Mike Truey, the rest of the team, you know, whether it was trying a different set of tires or trying to set up Casey, he was willing to do whatever it took for the team, even though he was there racing, trying to do the best that he could do for himself. And there was a ton of major races where, you know, Casey was right there in the mix. But as far as like the national championships and things like that, Silver State, all the events that we were able to accomplish and take home the championships in, like, it was totally a team effort. And I think for me, what helped me with that and having the mindset of just having people that you trust down in the pits. You know, like I remember, I believe I think it was in 2013 Nationals. Once Ty Testament had a problem and Casey yelled up, you know, Ty had a problem, you want to change the pit strategy? And I just yelled down, it's your call. And, you know, that's just purely because of having the trust and confidence in him and knowing that, you know, he's doing the best job that he possibly can, and he's going to adjust the strategy if needed, as if, you know, he was the one driving. So all those races, you know, it's cool to hear Casey say, like, you know, he enjoyed it and being able to be at the highest level with that. But for me, I mean, it's stuff that I am truly, truly grateful for. And, again, a huge part of being able to accomplish those victories were because of Casey. Super, super key part in all that.
Well, we'll get Casey's answer in a second, but what was maybe one of the reasons that you understood that you could trust him, Adam? Did you understand his mechanical abilities? Did you understand his decision-making process? Like, you don't just invite somebody to be a part of a national caliber team or group of drivers or pit people unless you can really, really count on them. And when you're talking about it, that you can count on them, what were the reasons?
I mean, pretty much all of the above. You know, it started where we were just kind of attending series races in Southern California, and I'd kind of originally just kind of see Casey at a distance. You know, I didn't know who he was at first. You know, I just was like, oh man, you know, the crew from Arizona came down, and just kind of as we became friends and seeing him progress in RC at a very fast rate, and then talking with him and you know, bouncing different setup ideas off of one another. And, you know, it's just, I guess at the end of the day, it comes down to just, you know, having trust in someone and seeing his work ethic, seeing how good of a racer, tester, product developer he was, just, you know, very, very well thought out, not just flying by the seat of his pants, you know, like, let's see how this is going to play out. You know, Casey was always there to, you know, help check and, you know, our fuel economy and everything, like leading up early in the event so that we had that extra confidence going into the finals. And, so yeah, I would say, like, for me to kind of gain or have that confidence in him, it didn't really take long after seeing his work ethic and his determination, you know, again, coming all the way to Southern California to do a one-day series race and loading back up, heading home late that night. And, you know, he's got a lot of drive and determination.
I think it's cool to hear those stories. And before I finish what I was going to say, did you enjoy that being part of the team, or the as a background of the team? I don't know if that's the right word. Being part of the pit crew and all that stuff. Did you enjoy that because you liked the mechanical portion of it, or like what was the enjoyment, or was it a team success kind of thing?
Yeah, it was an all the above two thing, like Adam said, and Thanks, Adam, for the kind words. Appreciate it. Same to you. Adam has a drive that's insanity.
Yeah, I know. We'll get into it on his show.
I don't know that anybody works harder than he does. So coming from him, I appreciate that a lot. But I mean, I did a lot of my own stuff away from that. So I was doing a lot of things to do the best I could. And we had the Arizona Series races and whatnot, and it was always fun to say. I mean, I remember that Adam and I would talk all the time, and he always made time for the question I had, or hey, I got an idea, let's try this, and like those are some of the things, or actually not some of those are the things I remember the most, where we would talk about, a new platform that again, the team as a whole, but Adam is like the main pivot guy for getting that stuff, developed, and him reaching out with, hey, see what you think of this, and then I get to throw that back at him. And what I'm getting at is all that stuff, all those little details, and that goes with any kind of racing program, whatever the industry. You're taking all those little things that equal, a small tenth at a time,
right? And
then you take that to the stage where it all matters. And now he and I are on the same page,
right?
And same with Mike.
And
Trulier.
that tenth is a winning tenth at that point.
Totally. So knowing that, like, we both have the same things in our mind about, the things that work and don't work. I just really enjoyed being able to have all that stuff. It was almost like I had the proverbial tool belt, right? I had all these little things in my toolbox to be able to throw at the situation, in the pits, like he said, whether it be fuel strategy or.
So one of the things that I was going to bring up, like during this conversation, Adam, you can probably attest to this, is so Casey started to learn to weld when he was 12. So his mechanical ability started very early in his life because of necessity, because he wanted to build things and he wanted to do things, right? And so that starts working its way, and then let's just say it's 10 or 15 years later, whatever, and you get into the RC car industry. It's really cool to see that development. I mean, you're working, you had your job and doing electrician stuff and going through these different things. But when you see something significant like that and you're putting a mechanical ability, and Adam has the same ability too, to develop things and to move an industry forward, it's huge. And when I say that, I mean it in all of those terms. We started racing RC cars. You introduced me to it when I moved back to Arizona from California. And there was these little trucks. They're called short course trucks.
Right.
And they're basically like a 10th scale real version of a short course truck like Kyle LeDuc or somebody rides. And that's what was interesting to me, right? They're not fast like your nitro buggies and the stuff that Adam does, but they're fun. They're cool things for people to get into.
For sure.
And so I started doing it with whatever car was out there at the time. And you took notice of it and you were like, oh, okay, well, I can't do it because the company that I'm driving for doesn't manufacture a vehicle like that. So
Casey basically took it upon himself to make, what is arguably, today still the most dominant or best four-wheel drive short course on the market.
100%. That's exactly where I was going. And I remember the first time that I met you, Adam, I had one of the vehicles that was already there. I could buy it off the shelf. And I didn't know what I was doing. I was just having fun. And Casey was my mentor again and my whole life. And you guys were all out there having fun doing your guys' thing. And Casey brought out I don't know what we want to call it, Frankenstein. He pieced together a truck, and it wasn't like two trucks, and they were four-wheel drive, and they were RC cars that eventually, after months and months of testing, turned into what Adam just said, one of the best developed 4x4 short course RC trucks on the market. And arguably, like Adam said, the best one. And I still, to this day, haven't driven a truck that felt that good. And it's amazing to me to understand that, because at that time when we were starting the RC stuff and you were doing that stuff, I was trying to venture into real short course racing.
Right.
And I was seeing all these guys building trucks and changing, like real Pro 4 trucks, changing the rear ends and changing the front ends and moving the shocks and moving the lengths and doing these different wheelbase things. You did that same thing, just on a smaller scale.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun, actually. And so still doing the nitro stuff as much as I could, and really loved that. But at the same time, there was this whole missing piece, like Adam said, of what the industry was doing. And I remember calling, on one of our weeknight chats or whatever. I'm like, hey, dude, we're going to this. Joey's going to do this short course truck race, first time ever. Oh, okay.
You
cool.
called Adam and said that?
Yeah. Okay, cool. And I'm like, hey, I want to. We need something. Can I build a? What ended up being the
Franken truck or whatever you call it, the Losi SCTE.
Yeah, I'm like, hey, I think the platform is the man. What was that thing called, Adam? The 10.
The 10T.
Yeah, the 10T. So it was that thing was pretty cool in its day. Electric start on the radio. The thing it was weird.
Yep.
It was cool, but at any rate, I'm like, hey, that's the platform. You got one laying around? He's like, yeah. So he sent me that like the next day, and I literally sat in the garage for the next 3 days just making Franken parts, like you said, to make this thing up. And yeah, that was a lot of fun. And then especially to see it was further developed by some of the Losi team, the actual engineers and whatnots, but the basis for it all started with just what that idea was, and then being able to take it to its first real win was actually pretty exciting.
Dude, that was super
I was
cool.
pretty pumped on that.
So Adam, you can tell me a little bit more about this, but it's my understanding that when somebody puts in a lot of effort and excels in the industry like Casey did, a reward that they get is by getting their sticker kit or RC paint job on a box for a product.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, Casey he was fortunate enough to have that. It's something that very few have had done. It's kind of a tribute, just a thank you that some of the companies try to do to certain key people. It's always kind of a touchy subject though, because it's like, you always have a number of guys that are like, well, why did you choose his paint job and not mine, and so on and so forth. So sometimes the companies will kind of tiptoe around that. They'll just use like more of a generic paint scheme, but they were able to do that with Casey's paint scheme, which is pretty cool. Something that he can kind of have and, look up on the shelf and know that there's, thousands of people that have opened up a box that has his paint scheme on it.
So I was at and I'm gonna expand on that, but I was at a Goldie's body shop, an auto body shop here in Tucson, Arizona, and the guys that work there have no idea who Casey is, but we walked into a storage unit that they have, and he goes, I got this little RC car truck box. Guess what it was? It was a SCTE Casey's paint job box. That's funny. I couldn't believe it. I was like, Jesus, man, I don't even know how many kids like open up that box thinking this is the baddest thing ever. Like, I'm so excited about this. And to go one step further with that comment, having a box with your logo on it and all of the stuff that you've done, this is an exaggeration, but let me just try to put it in context for our audience. It's like having a character built for you. If you, let's just say you're Michael Jordan. RC Cars is not quite Michael Jordan, but you're Michael Jordan and you get a little statue of a toy made for you and it's put inside the toy store. That's the same basic concept, because they're giving you a memory, and they're showing that you put in all this work. Right. And obviously Michael Jordan put in a lot of work for his career, but you also did a very good job developing that truck, and the skill set that you had was pretty freaking amazing. And Adam has all these same skills.
Yeah, and I mean, that truck was just one of the things. It wasn't, Casey was always trying to help with the testing, the development. I mean, at that time, we had such an awesome group of people with Mike Trury, Billy Fisher, Casey Peck, myself, of guys that all just, I think, enjoyed one another's time. Mm-hmm. They wanted the best for one another. I mean, it was never a thing of like, with Casey and I kind of being, I guess, like a team within a team, as far as I was the driver, Casey was pitting, he was also racing, but it was never a thing of like Casey was rooting for me more than Truey or more than Billy. It was just a really kind of unique type of deal where we were all there trying to do the best for the team. And, Casey being involved with the SCTE, he was like the key person who kind of kickstarted or got that going. But again, that was just one of many, many projects that Casey was heavily involved with, that maybe the masses didn't see, but behind the scenes, he was always willing to head out to the track, do some testing, throw different ideas at it, or maybe they had some weather and couldn't get to the track. So he's giving myself or Mike Trury some ideas, and, was a very key. I say behind the scenes just because he didn't work directly in the office, but he was definitely a key part of that time and a number of vehicles, that were developed.
Yeah, I think that's fantastic to hear that. And during this whole time, Casey also was working a full-time job. He was a huge part in. I was again a fan of the short course trucks, and I was doing websites at the time. So we built a little company. It's called Short Course Hobbies, and we had a lot of fun with it because we were able to sell RC car parts through an online store. And Casey and I used it as a little marketing tool, and we had stickers on pretty fast guys' trucks because of his friendships with everybody. And so for him to do all that stuff and take on all these other things, have spend time with his family and stuff, it shows a lot about his work ethic and his motivation and drive.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely.
Also,
the accepting family and awesome, and it's an awesome wife that I have.
Yeah. So thanks, Court. Appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Brian Clark commented in. He said, "Didn't Casey win the Dirt Nitro Challenge with that truck?"
I did, and they were so mad.
What? Who?
The guys that were already dominating.
Oh, they were pissed?
Oh, yeah.
Because you came in and stole their glory, dude.
The hyper guys or the OFNA guys, Jeremy Courts.
Yeah. That jamming truck?
Yeah, that's what it was, yeah. And that thing was awesome in its own right, but all of a sudden...
I can say it because I don't have any ties with them. That thing was a piece of crap compared to your truck, dude.
Well, that's the thing. It's like it's the next evolution of... You know how racers are.
Dude, there's not been a next evolution after you guys made that truck. That truck is still the baddest one on the. I mean, there's been like version 2 and version 3, but that thing is still sweet.
It was pretty awesome. So Adam, we got some guys that you'll definitely know that are piping saying hey, and Rory says you're definitely one of the biggest guys that gives back. Gino DeSantis says the same thing. Charles Hicks, I agree. Those days were a ton of fun, for sure. Larone, my dog, real decent. Matt Chambers, right on, Casey. How's it going, Matt? It's been a while.
Courtney chimed in, too.
Matt was definitely part of those days on the electric side.
Yeah, absolutely.
For sure.
I think the most important comment is that Courtney let you race on the weekends because she saw you were so focused.
I was going to say it takes skill, focus, and a wife who lets you race every weekend. Yeah, absolutely, babe.
That's awesome. Do you have any specific stories in the well, maybe it was at a national or at the Worlds or something, Adam, where you and Casey had success, or maybe it was even a disaster, but you remember that time significantly?
Yeah, I mean, I remember so many stories with Casey. I would say, I mean, this was part of a race, but it was actually after the race. This was just kind of a funny story. But so at the 2013 Nationals, it was in Houston, Texas. It was at a track that was covered, so it was basically like a pole barn, but without sides on it. And it was super, super hot, humid, just a brutal weekend, like super hard on cars, and was a super successful weekend for us.
Yep.
So we ended up, we won the Nitro Buggy class. Mike Trury was second. And on Monday afterwards, we're like packing up, we're getting everything ready to head to the airport. And we're like, hey, we need to stop by the track, because it was kind of like a ritual that Casey would do after like all the national championships that we won. He would go and he basically take a sample of the dirt so that we would have
talk about your dirt life, dude. Heck yeah, give me a high five on that, dude.
Yeah, right.
Sweet. Yeah, but it gets way better. So Casey's like, hey, we got to stop by the track on the way to the airport so I can get a sample of the dirt. I was like, okay. So we go to the track, and a couple of the other teams are there testing. One of the teams is testing complete new platform. They have their engineers there. Everyone's there, doing lap times, making changes. We show up, and they're like trying to stack boxes up so we can't see what's going on, which we weren't there to see what was going on. The race was over.
We won. Yeah,
had a
we're
really
leaving.
successful weekend.
Yeah.
Like, we don't care what you're working on. You know, maybe at the next race we will be, but this one's over. So a bunch of us are kind of standing around talking and everything. And Casey comes over and he's like, "Hey, we got to go." And I'm like, "What's up?" He was like, "I got the sample of the dirt." And I was like, "Okay." Like, I'm kind of like, "Man, like, is it like we really got to?" He's like, "No, we got to go."
Crap.
So I'm like, "Okay." So we go get in the rental car, and like the sample of dirt he took was like basically like the size of, like, I don't know, like a basketball. If a basketball was like
Totally.
laid flat, like it was like a circle that was
Holy
maybe
cow.
a foot, and it was directly out of the racing line. Like,
Oh.
there was fuel laid down. It was blue groove, like, and it was probably 2 or 2.5 inches.
Oh,
thick.
these dudes were
Deep,
testing?
oh, at least. Yeah, it was at least that deep.
So, so Casey's trying to like chisel it to make it thinner, but he wants to still keep, you know, the same look and just memory of, like, you know, the fuel and the dirt, the blue groove, like, and well, the thing is all these teams were still there testing, and
So now they have
this
a
chunk of dirt was taken right out of the main racing line. So now all of their testing, they're like, and this track it had a really narrow line. So
It was
like,
in the
if you're doing
chicane.
testing, yeah,
They
yeah,
took it out of the
exactly.
chicane.
So,
So
so
if
now
you're
they
doing
think you
testing-
sabotaged them.
Yeah. Yeah. But so if you're doing testing and you have your notes from like the 3 previous hours with your lap times, everything else, well, now you basically have a different track because there's like
The Chuck's
a
gone.
massive pothole or chicane that you have to go around. So, I mean, we have so many stories. We could talk for hours and hours about all the stories, but that was one that just, I guess, kind of popped into my head, and I thought it was kind of cool because, you know, with the show being The Dirt Life, and it was about a chunk of dirt, and how it kind of tied into a national championship that we won together. So
I love that story.
pretty cool.
But
Yeah, I still have the chunk of dirt.
That's awesome. I love
do
it.
you
It's been a while.
Oh, and I wanted to say thanks, Adam, for inviting me to be a part. You know, like, you respected me because I was, you know, with Casey and stuff when we came out to California and had a good time with you guys, even though I was the newbie on the team, just like endurance racer. But thank you very much for doing that. So the real question is, though, did any of those guys ever contact either of you guys and say, "Why'd you mess up the track?"
Dude, they were so pissed. They were so pissed.
I mean, we had to hop on a plane, so we couldn't hear from anyone for a little while.
Oh man, that's funny.
So Adam, Mikey, man, I always mess up Mikey's last name. Chidione. Sorry, Mikey. Love you.
Yeah.
Mikey says, what's awesome. I mean, he's saying me too, but I've always been this way, and Adam has too, and everybody knows it. But we don't care what manufacturer you drive for. You know, whatever you're driving, we're just trying to take the time and make sure you have a good time, you know, a good experience with the car you're driving. And Adam definitely has always been that way to, you know, to help whoever's driving. Doesn't matter what it is. If you see someone have a bad time at the track, he wants them to come back. You know,
Yeah,
'cause
100%.
That's good for the industry, and absolutely, Mike. I think we all definitely want to.
Well, that goes
try
to
be that
goes
way.
to life in general. It doesn't matter if somebody needs help or not. You're always there. You're just a good person, right?
Yeah.
Alvin says hi. I'm afraid where this is gonna go, as well as Eric Lundvall says hey.
Hey, what's up, Eric? Hey, Alvin. Watch out for those steamrollers.
I can't wait. In 2 weeks, it's gonna be so much fun.
Matt
I can't
Tremming
wait.
also commented in too.
Yeah, Matt, you're right. Matt says I'm almost as good as him with a Dremel. Matt's up there with like how BK was, and have you seen those flags that Travis Peanut is making?
Yeah,
Dude,
pretty amazing.
they are gorgeous, and it's so funny because I think back to he was always one of those awesome Dremel guys, and there he is making that. So yeah, I agree, Matt. I'm not as good as you with the Dremel, that's for sure.
So we can and thank Rhonda too for allowing Casey and I to be a part of those efforts during this whole time. We got to make sure that we thank Courtney and Rhonda this whole time for letting you guys do what you do.
Definitely.
So, we really appreciate
absolutely.
you sharing those stories, Adam. That was a perfect story, taking the dirt.
The steamroller wasn't even insured.
That's hilarious, man.
Oh, man.
I'm sure you guys can tell so many good stories, but we'll save a little bit for your show too,
Yeah,
Adam.
I can't wait.
I really appreciate it.
Yeah,
Please-
looking forward to it. Thank you guys for everything, and definitely looking forward to catching up with you guys again soon. And just thanks to you guys, and especially thank you to Casey. We've made so many great memories. We've had a lot of success. We've had some heartbreak together.
Mm-hmm.
Been through so many different things. You're in my wedding, which I'm still blown away that you and Courtney came out to, with everything you had on your plate at the time, and everything that was going on the week following our wedding. And just thank you guys so much for everything, and looking forward to catching up again soon.
Absolutely. We wouldn't have missed it for the world, Adam.
Thanks, Adam. I appreciate it. And tell, like I said, Rhonda just chimed in, but tell Rhonda we said hi too. So we'll talk to you soon, bud.
All right, sounds good. You guys have a good night.
See you too.
See ya.
Bye.
So now we got to kind of Tarantino this because we had
Tarantino.
Yeah,
That's
so we
the
got to
perfect
move
way to
back a
put
little
it.
bit. So
Yeah.
we'll go back real quick, and we'll just spend 2 minutes on this. But
Sure.
during that time, like, again, you're good at mechanical stuff and manufacturing and different things like that. There was a point when you broke so many bones that you were like, F this, I'm not racing dirt bikes anymore. I'm going to actually manufacture my own mountain bikes. And you started building your own mountain bikes.
Yeah, so again, just a couple seconds because these are funny things that if my mom's listening, my sister, whatever, they'll get a kick out of. But one particular time my dad took me to the hospital. Usually it was my mom or you or Ray's mom. Anyways, my dad took me to the hospital, broken arm. I think I was about, 16, 17, whatever. The doctor asked my dad to leave and came in to find out if they were beating me. Because my file of broken bones and parts, and I don't know, I counted at one time and it's over 20 for sure.
Dang.
I can't remember exactly, but regardless, the doctor pulled my dad out to find out if he was beating me. I was irate.
Yeah, I can only
And then, of
imagine.
course, I'm screaming for my dad to get in there, and then, long story short, we walked out of there, didn't sign any papers, anything.
Yeah, you just bailed out.
Went to the chiropractor and got a sling for that thing to heal. Anyways, and then another time my mom, this goes right along with the bike stuff. My mom took me to wherever to have my knee looked at, see if I can finally get this thing fixed. And the doctor told us, we don't think this is or maybe you need to find a new sport. That's what he told my mom. And I'm pretty sure a choice cuss word came out of her mouth. And she said, well, we need to find a new doctor. And that was awesome because that could have gone, many different ways, and it just showed the support that
they had for their son.
For what we were trying to do. I think they believed in what we were trying to do as well.
It's pretty cool to have that support mechanism. And again, that's why you're so loving with your family, and that's why you have such passion in, I think, the things that you do, because those little things make a huge difference in the rest of your life. Like, people talk about it all the time, but it's, at least for me, you're sitting right next to me, so it's proof. Russell even chimed in. Yeah, so Casey's bicycle company was called Shiznit.
Yeah, it was. So I'm glad you mentioned that. So that was another one of those you can't do it. Oh yeah, watch this.
Yeah, exactly.
And so we were all, my whole group, Mikey and Russell and B-Rat, and I'm sure there's others I'm missing. We decided, okay, we're going to get into this a little more. So we go do a downhill race and a dual slalom race, and I'm on a bike that's not supposed to be for that, but we're doing the best we can with what we got, right?
Right.
So anyways, I
you
wad
want
up
something better.
Yeah, exactly. So I wadded up and I break my collarbone on that other helmet again, second time.
That
And,
helmet hates your collarbones.
It totally does. And the helmet actually broke it because I was too cool to wear a chest guard. You know how you get to that pro level and you're like, I don't need that anymore. It's about the look. Part of it's about look, but it's also a confidence thing.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, right. Anyway, so now I'm like, all right, I'm gonna, with this downtime, I'm gonna build a downhill bike, and I go to the shop that I had been doing a whole bunch of helping out and doing some side work and whatever for them. Anyways, and they're like, we'll sell you that frame, but it's at full retail, and they got it on accident. So
man,
really pissed
Jerks.
me off, and I'm like, I'm just gonna build my own, and they're like, you can't build your own.
Yeah.
All right, now it's on.
Yeah.
So, man, there was like 5.
Dude, you get motivated when people tell you this.
Totally. So, and then of course my dad being a fab guy for forever, it was awesome to say, here's what I'm going to do, Dad. And I'm going to start with just junk metal. And the first couple things I built were just out of like literally gas pipe, water pipe, whatever we had.
Yep.
And just to get geometries figured out and whatever. Anyways, long story short, I got all the way down to this. This was like a 2-year thing, messing around, and you helped me with a website and stuff.
Yep.
Got down to ready for a full production run. This is after a full prototype.
Your sister just chimed in and said, "Well, I knew you were the favorite child."
Right. Okay. Whatever. So yeah. Anyways, took that bike to a national, a downhill race, and proved that it was going to work and be okay, and did an industry event with it and met all the partners that were going to help me build this thing. And so it was going to go from prototype stage to production. And
yeah, but you like legit went through all the company stuff, all the business stuff. Like, I mean, you started doing trademarks.
Totally. So that was obviously the short version. But I mean, again, I had help with people that knew what they were doing. You knew how to do website stuff, obviously, and
yeah,
good
but
at marketing.
I would have never did it if
and
your drive wasn't there. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, I knew that you wanted it to happen, and you had all the wherewithal to do it once you put your mind to it.
The bummer to it was I finally got to the point where it was like, damn, this is a fish out of water. Like, I needed to be in California or somewhere that has like real mountains to go.
I don't know. Honestly, I think, because I told you about this before the show, is when I look back at it, I still think it was like inventing the iPhone in 1990. You can't do that. It was way ahead of its time.
It did have some cool things that weren't done at the time. I will definitely say.
Because I remember you telling me, because I didn't go to these events with you. You told me, you're like, dude, these guys think I'm fucking crazy.
Right. And the funny thing is, I was just taking moto. I was just taking the moto.
What you learned.
Yeah. To that genre, I guess. And anyways,
I think that's so cool, though. That's like the
B-Rat
people
says it works awesome. He's still riding it, and yeah, we got it all tuned up and ready to go, and he's
still rips it. That's what I mean, dude. Like, it was ahead of its time, and it's still. But when people invent stuff, it's like necessity is the mother of invention, right?
Yes.
Well, at the time, there was a necessity for that bike.
Right.
It was just ahead of its time.
Yes.
So you saw that it needed it, just like, and again, neither of us are Steve Jobs or whatever, but Steve Jobs saw that technology needed to change.
Right.
Well, you saw that there was a little gap in the mountain bike market, and you wanted to go after it. I still think that's one of the coolest things that you've done, because, like I said, it wasn't like it was done before, and the RC car thing came afterwards. Like,
it did. It was kind of close. That was almost the nail in the coffin, where I started to have this realization of, well, first of all, I needed about $10,000, which
it's like a lot of money.
If you think about it, like, that's not terrible. But it was $10,000 to do that first run, and I had a couple guys that were going to buy.
Yeah, but that's
one.
like $100,000 these days.
Russell was going to buy one. Yeah, exactly. So I had to go back to Russell with my tail between my legs. Hey, man, here's your money back. I'm sorry. That was a bummer. But anyways, the point was.
Hey, Russell, if you want to invest in a bike, we know a dude that has one.
Yeah, he still has it.
Yeah, he might just sell it to you for top dollar.
Right. So right about that time is when the RC thing was starting to kick off for him, and I was like, man, that could really be this outlet for this passion and want and desire to race that I can't do anymore.
Yeah.
And that could technically be, safer and maybe be a little more long, have some longevity in that industry. But so that was really the nail in the coffin of that bike, unfortunately. And it sat forever. And I remember my dad telling me, don't you ever part that thing out or sell it. I'll buy it. I don't care what it costs, because that needs to. And he was right. There's memories with that thing. So it's super cool that B-Rat's out there running around, and he tells me that he gets people like, what is that?
Yeah,
that's crazy. So
it's
cool to
neat
hear that.
It's neat that you had that ability to do that, and a lot of people would look back on stuff like that and be like, what the heck? And so it's a good transition. Again, we're Tarantinoing it because we got kind of
right.
off the storyline, but
it's my ADD.
Well, and we had the callers calling in at different times, and so that's my fault. But anyways, so during this time, you still had a family. Mm-hmm. You still had a regular job that you had to do. So I wanted to go back a little bit and understand what made you get into the trade that you are now, and explain to us the trade that you're working in.
Yeah, absolutely. So way back when, Dad had his business, and really good close friends of the families, best friends of the families, the Bortmasses. I've mentioned it before. Ramey had a business, an electrical business, and Dad would keep me busy for money in the summers. here and there. I'd go paper a septic system with him or a leach line with him.
Yeah, just help with this task that you needed.
And then at the same time, Ramey and his son Ramey Jr. They'd have work, and so every now and again I got to help go rope a house. And
when you say rope a house, it was like doing electrician stuff.
Yeah, running the Romex around there, wiring a house. And in my mind, it was just like, oh, cool. Here's another outlet to to get a couple outlet. That's funny.
Yeah.
Here's something to do to get a couple more dollars. It was always just the couple more dollars to save up and get the next piece of gear. Or remember those days when you just wanted that new pair of pants?
Yeah, absolutely.
For riding gear. Anyways,
if you guys didn't notice, Casey just cracked a joke, and then
outlet.
Yeah, with outlet, he's also pretty witty too. So, so yeah, but the motivation was still there. Like, you're so motivated to do all these things that you really want that you're doing all this other stuff to make it happen.
That stuff was just sidebar to. Looking back, hindsight's 2020. It's always easy, but I mean, I've done a lot of reflecting on some of that stuff and how that worked out. And again, it's always in God's timing for me, and it's been so amazing to look back on some of those things.
Nope, he's not selling it. It's mine
now.
It's
mine. Yep. So, with that said, they were giving me an opportunity that I didn't realize, and so here we are, doing electrical work, doing my other stuff. Whatever it was at the time, the bikes, the moto, the RC. And then that led to Ramey Sr. got cancer, and Ramey, and Amy, his sister, the three of us, and Tootie, the mom, we ran the business. I mean, I didn't do much, but it was the four of us, the three of us running the business. So here we were doing everything. And they gave me a lot of, they trusted me. Apparently, I was running the truck around by myself sometimes. And long story short, Ramey, when he came out of the cancer and beat it, he told me, what you need to do is go down and join the apprenticeship.
Yeah.
So once again, I was still doing all the other things that I was focused on, but I was doing this other stuff, as what was supporting it. So I joined the apprenticeship and took his advice. It was great, and it's been a fantastic trade for me for 25 years.
Yeah, it's cool, and you've worked your way up the ladder too. So started from the bottom, now you towards the top. Just like you've done in most of the other things that you've done. That dedication doesn't it's always seen in anybody, yourself, people that are successful. You don't get to that point. You don't get the recognition. You don't get to that point by being a cocky person, a jerk. You have to be humble. You have to be good at your trade. You have to be driven. You have to be motivated. There's all these good things. So those are all qualities that you possess. But the craziest part about it to me is that all of it was driven by your passion. That you wanted to do something.
It's what
If you didn't have RC cars, if you didn't have mountain bikes, if you didn't have your dirt life as the baseline, you wouldn't have pushed so hard.
No, it's so true. And that's what that passion is what makes you different. It makes you excel. It also makes you be the outsider and the standout. And sometimes that's a hard thing to live with, because you're kind of, because of that passion to see what, to make things better. A lot of times that's looked on like, negative, or you're going against the grain. I'm always going against the grain, unfortunately, but it's not because you're trying to, make it hard for things. You're trying to make things better. And it's because of that passion. So it's a blessing and a curse, I guess. We'll put it that way.
I don't think it's a curse at all, but I think it's fantastic. And because I got to see it from a third-party perspective, like you went through a bunch of stuff that I don't know about, like that was, in between the things. I didn't know about the hard times about building the bicycle and all these different things, but there's all kinds of stuff that happens. But every single one of those things teaches you so much.
It does. The funny thing, too, here, I'll tell you, I was a horrible employee. If you talk, maybe not a horrible, but probably not a great one. But my first real job was for Donnie.
Yeah, when you were working at the cycle shop.
Tucson ATV. So all these other things are all in play. Working with Dad, working for Ramey, with Ramey, blah, blah, blah. All that's going on at the same time. And then when I found the dirt bikes, Dad finally we got a dirt bike and we're going to go race.
Yep.
And so on my own, I called Donnie. and I had only known him for. Well, I mean, we know who he is. Everybody knew who he was.
Right, because he was the local dirt bike shop guy.
He was, yes, the accessory shop. So he wasn't affiliated with any. He just was the place you wanted to go.
He always had the coolest gear.
He always had the coolest stuff,
Yeah.
the coolest gear. Anyways, I called him, and hey, how's it going? And I'm like, hey, any chance you need somebody to sweep the floor? Here's what's going through my mind. We get I finally get the two-wheeler and the motorcycle, and Dad's gonna now, let me have that. But in my mind, I'm racing. It's just a matter of time. Well, we don't really have the money for all the gear and all the stuff. So in my mind, how do we do that? Well, I got to get a job.
Yeah.
So doing all that other stuff,
driven.
and I'm calling him, and he's like, heck yeah. So I'm working for him, and everything's great. We're doing things. Here's the things that I did that were terrible. I sold somebody's bike without a title.
Dude.
I felt terrible and horrible, and of course, lesson learned, blah, blah, blah. She gave me her word. She'd be back. It was on consignment.
Oh, man.
And I sold it to somebody. Anyways, and then I dropped the box of Jets probably 3 times.
And for people that don't know Jets, it's like dropping a bag of M&Ms on the ground.
Really
it just
is.
goes everywhere.
So people come in, hey, you have a 165 for a Makuni carb or whatever. Oh, yeah, sure. I go back there. And, man, the third time that I dropped this thing, I was in tears at this point because, I mean,
you got to clean up that mess.
Oh, totally. But I looked up to Donnie so much. I wanted to do him right and, be the good employee. And anyways, I dropped this thing, and the words out of his mouth are, well, he's consistent at least.
Because you messed up again. That's hilarious.
It was so terrible.
You also did a little bit of work with one of our good buddies, Jeff Furrier, too, right?
Yeah, I did some
at UPR Racing.
So it was just some side work and helping get the shop going and stuff. But with Jeff, I was building that. This was in that downtime of not having RC or anything to race, and Jeff really helped me steer towards building that. I like to call it a show truck. I mean, it was in one little show or whatever, but it was a cool truck. You remember the orange Chevy that we?
That thing was really cool. So it was like back in the lowriders and high rider days.
Yeah, exactly.
But to build a truck like that takes a lot of work. And dude, it's crazy to see all the little skills that you learned that made all these crazy cool things. So let's fast forward a little bit because we're 8:30. We should probably wind it up soon.
Sure, of course.
So now, going a little bit down the road, you're still in the same trade.
Yep.
Working basically the same job, doing electrical stuff, but it's a lot different now. You have 2 young girls that are growing up. You obviously still with Courtney. A lot of stuff is the same, but it's changed. Like, what do you think now compared to, let's just say 10 years ago, 15 years, 20 years ago?
Well, I think I'm in a good place for, obviously family. I mean, as the kids grow, I mean, there's all kinds of challenges, high school and teenagers and everything that goes along with that. And it's a journey. But in a good place with the career, things have changed and it's going really well at this point.
What do you think, like, all the fun stuff and all the crazy little stories that we've talked about, like, what do you think the dirt life has done for you that you can rest on these days with your family?
Well, it's that, again, I think it's the same hard work and trying to figure it out. Like, we've had some medical things going on with our oldest, and Courtney's done everything with that. But in my mind, I'm always trying to like reverse engineer everything and try to fix it. And sometimes, us as men, you just can't fix everything. So
that might be something that's up for discussion, and I think women are better than men at this at all the times. But you're always so focused and your mindset, like, mechanically sound, right? Like, everything has to be, but you can't do that with a human.
You can't do it with a human. It's a huge, hard lesson.
Let's Tarantino it again. Didn't you kind of learn some of this stuff when you went through the tumor stuff with your brain surgeries and things like that?
Yeah, definitely. And that's, at that point, you're really, for me, I can only speak for me. I can't speak for anybody else. But for me, finding that out, that having basically that brick thrown at you.
Right. It's like you said you can't equate it to anything else, but it's not like having a broken bone where you fall off your dirt bike. It's
because you can fix that.
Somebody telling you have a lung problem, a heart problem. You can't say it's cancer, but you have something wrong with your head. Like, it's like, oh my gosh, like, what do I do? But you obviously survived it and you did very well. and congratulations to you for pushing so hard through it and having the support mechanism with your family. But my point was more along the lines of, didn't that teach you can't fix it or build it like you can a mechanical piece?
You can. So for me at that point, it was you have to submit. God's put you down this path for me for my whole life, like I said, and it's not accidental. So after the shock of when you have something like that done to you or told to you or shown to you or whatever, you finally have to get to that point of submission and say, I'm not in control.
Yeah.
There's
Reality
nothing
check.
I can do.
Yeah. My reality just totally
It's
changed.
totally changed. I'm putting all my faith and trust in God, and He's going to bring me through this or not. You know what I mean?
So when you have a significant emotional experience like that in your life, how does it trickle down with your family and your loved ones?
Yeah, so what I was getting at is, though, so now you get through that. Like I said, either you do or you don't. But now being on the other side of that, and twice, I know that I'm not in control, and that's hard. So doing the best you can to accept what you're given, and do the best with it what you can. And I mean, I'm preaching to myself, because we all fall into the trap of, oh, this could be better and that could be better.
Well, especially with the C-19, all that stuff going on right now.
Exactly. But working through that and saying, okay, well, we're just going to have to figure out what the new normal is and accept the new normal and try to again be the best we can with it and be better. How can we be better? What can we do to, wake up in the morning and be happy that you're breathing, first of all. Be thankful for that, and that.
Well, and you look to your right and you look to your left and you see your support
Absolutely.
Mechanisms.
Yep, for sure.
Your family, your daughters,
100%,
your
yep.
parents. It's
Definitely.
pretty intense, right? Like
sure.
The reality check is like, bar none, the biggest learning experience that you have in your whole life, because it changes your whole outlook on everything.
Yep. Yeah. All of a sudden, nothing else matters.
Exactly.
Except for, some of the first thoughts are, how many more minutes do I have with my babies?
Yep.
And my loving wife and my parents, and
that's crazy.
It is. It's easy to talk about now, but not so much then, because you just don't know what the future is. So that's where, if you're a faithful person, you're putting your faith in.
Well, the perspective is totally different at that point. Yeah. So
for sure.
And so it kind of goes back to my question then, is like, how did that change the way that you deal with things now? Because you're all of a sudden you're showing all this stuff, right? Like, so I know you because I know you personally. A lot of people don't think the same. They think, I got to go to work and make money. That's first and foremost, because I got to support my family.
Mm-hmm.
That's not necessarily the support mechanism that every family needs. Family needs love. They need kindness. They need caring. They need guidance.
Right.
Did that change you to focus on those types of things?
Yeah, like I said, with now all of a sudden nothing else matters.
Right.
So now it's having that quality time as best as you can as possible. And I'm not perfect. Nobody is. That's something that I definitely could be better at, for sure. But the hardest, here's what you know. We all know as racers. I've said this before, and I mean it. As a racer, especially growing up as a racer, you're very selfish.
Yeah, 100%.
Because it's all, we've heard it from some of the guests before too. It's all about what you can do to try to be better.
Right.
But that's the point. And I think that's why,
or leverage everything around you.
Absolutely. And I think that's why as racers, regardless of what we do, we have hard relationships until we can get to that point to realize it's not all about me.
Right.
So even with that said, getting through the medical things and recovering and doing the best you can, there's still that want and desire that to do the best you can also on that personal level.
Yeah.
That's hard to take out. And you just try to make sure that you're not shorting.
It's like ingrained in you.
It is. And again, that's the blessing and the curse, that you're not shorting your loved ones.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Because you want to go do those things for you and do the best you can, and I believe God gives you talent to do things, but don't forget that you can't short the people that care about you out of the time that they need to.
Right, and well,
It's
we've
so
had people
important.
chime in here too, and I guarantee Courtney and your girls will say the same thing. But they don't mind if you focus on you because they know it comes back around. They know that you're determined, you're driven, and they'll support you because you support them. So it's a circle that goes around.
It is, and again, it takes the right people and that loving family that is there behind you, allowing you to be some selfish still.
I still think Courtney and the girls need to ride bicycles with us a little bit more.
Yeah, they do. I
get out there
try.
and rip.
They like to sometimes, but
dude, it's
all
so
good.
hot though. I can agree with them.
And everybody does their own thing. That's
dude,
okay. You know what I mean? Everyone's motivated by their own things. I can't force it on you to go, hey, let's go do
You
whatever.
can't force it on me to do iRacing because I was terrible at it. All right, well, so let's just kind of fast forward again. So some of the stuff that you've done in your career has been pretty awesome, but it's still called the dirt life, and it's not the electrical life. So we'll just go past that, and now you just love riding bicycles, and you've kind of shown me a lot of things with this new bicycle stuff too. So do you have any like future plans to keep doing bicycle stuff or what?
Yeah, I would say this is the hardest since we're using the, what are you calling it, C19?
Yeah, C19.
Yeah, since C19's going on, my good buddy and also brother-in-law.
Oh, sweet.
Brian.
Courtney said she'll go on a beach cruise.
Beach cruiser, there she goes.
I got 2 bikes.
So Brian Clark, who you know as well, very good buddy. He's also brother-in-law, which is cool. And then my buddy Will Morse, we go to Angel Fire every summer, and we try.
What's Angel Fire? Is that a bike?
So that's a downhill
bike event,
mountain bike park.
Okay.
And if anybody's out there that doesn't know about it, you need to look into it. It's like literally.
Why you got to bring it up to me? I don't even have a mountain bike.
Top 3 or top 5 in the whole world. It's
really
insane, and it's still far away from us. It's like 9 hours, but
That's
it's
not that
but
bad.
it's the closest thing that we can get, and it's amazing. Anyways,
big jumps?
It's insane,
Dang.
but also safe.
If
It can be, it's groomed, and it's actually safer than riding the gnarly natural stuff on Mount Lemmon, hands down.
Okay.
Anyways, that's what we do every summer. We're always looking forward to it, and we do all the other stuff leading up to it, road bikes and riding around here and everything. But this summer, all of a sudden, when this happens, we're like, great, there goes Angel Fire. We can't go, so we're kind of bummed about that. So as soon as that thing opens, we're going.
What about that thing that Josh Shorter, the brand manager at Thor, does about Sea Otter?
Sea Otter. So that's a huge event, obviously, and him.
That
winning,
looks cool.
That's awesome. That's a little out of our wheelhouse at the moment since we're older. I'm older.
Is it like for all the young bucks going out there?
Yeah,
and
it's like literally a national.
Like Loretta Lynn's?
It is.
For like mountain bikes or
and
whatever?
it's awesome. But we still enjoy competing. I mean, we did that Red Bull event at it was an endurance race. So the
that
3 of us.
24-hour thing?
No, it was actually 12. So sun up to sundown. It's called the Burner, Angel Fire Burner. It was a Red Bull event put on by Angel Fire. They brought it back to life. They didn't do it for 10 years. Anyways, I have a buddy that I met through RC, which is crazy.
That's pretty cool.
Who runs the bike shop, Clay Kimsey, up at Angel Fire.
Oh, perfect.
And it's so weird how all these
dude,
worlds collide.
You've met some serious people in RC, like Ryan Seib, Steve Westfall, the guys that we've had on the show. And
it's just insane how the paths cross. And again, I consider myself blessed to have been on this ride and this journey to meet all these.
But there's tons of guys
people.
that race RC cars that have never met these dudes too. So give yourself a little credit there. That's pretty bitchin', man. So okay.
So we go do that. That was an awesome event. We were hoping it was going to happen again this year. I mean, we basically straight off the couch did it and finished third. We were so pumped. There's a whole other story about that.
Well,
that
I
won't bother everybody. But
I can only see it now. Like,
So
we
much
finished
fun.
third. Now we're going for a win. Now we
yeah.
gotta like the motivation and drive just like goes 100.
It was an endurance deal. As many laps as you can get, hand off the baton. My turn, your turn, my turn, your turn.
Well, Brian's an animal, though.
Brian is an animal on that stuff. He's awesome. And the funny thing is he wasn't a moto guy. So it blew me away as his skills.
He's still a racer, though.
Definitely. That's the thing is we know that racing mentality. But anyways, when that event was over, we were like, oh, cool. We finished fourth. That's close. Right on. We're good. And then we go down to the awards ceremony, and they had a typo. And we weren't even close to fourth. We smoked fourth, and we were only 2 seconds, 30 seconds, something like that. Sounds like a lot between second and third. And our buddy Will, because he's the nicest guy ever, there was a Le Mans start, and some dude snapped his chain or did something, and Will stopped, pulled out his tool, helped the guy.
Oh, so you guys could have won it.
Could have been. The guys that won were they
pretty
definitely
far ahead.
fed, but no problem second. But my point is, here's a group of guys, and yeah, we're doing the best we can, but we're always that's just what we do. We're always gonna
that's
do
so
that.
cool, man.
So we thought we were getting fourth, we got third, and could have been second.
Yeah, but that's okay.
That was fun times.
At least you got the boost up to third because you did a nice
yeah,
beat.
maybe so.
That's pretty cool.
It was a good time. So yeah, riding as much as we can and getting my miles in during the week to try to not be old.
When you go on the rides and stuff, let me go back to the injury thing. Like, how much do you have? Because for me, I've been riding a lot by myself these days.
Mm-hmm.
The amount of reflection that I can get on the rides. When I come back, I feel like I'm a better person. Like I'm clear-headed.
Yep.
Like I've just obviously flushed my system with exercise, but
Right.
my mind is so much more important.
Totally. It's a giant stress reliever. For me, I turn on my worship music and I just
Go to
listen.
town.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's cool, man. And you can do that in the dirt.
Yep.
You can do it on the road.
Yep, do it in both. I do the same thing in both.
That's cool. No RC stuff lately, though, because the RC tracks are all shut down. But
They're all shut down. It's been a while for me anyways. There's nothing in town is the bummer.
yeah, you have to go to Phoenix to do it.
If we had something in town, I'd be all over it.
Yeah. One of these days we'll have to get RC car tracks going again. All right. Well, I definitely want to say thank you to your family, your support mechanisms, and all that stuff for being the team that they were, because indirectly they helped me. So
Awesome.
it was pretty
Good.
cool. I appreciate all that from everyone. All right.
Of course.
So usually at this point in the show, we do a rapid fire Q&A between the two of us.
Yeah.
Now it's just going to be me asking you questions, and I may or may not have thrown a couple new ones in there.
Oh boy.
So, all right, you ready, or do you have something else that you want to tell people? Oh, and if you guys want to connect with Casey, you guys can hit him up anytime. He's obviously we tagged him in our last social media post, but it's cpeck511 on Instagram and Casey Peck obviously on Facebook. So, I wouldn't suggest calling him. He gets a lot of phone calls too. All right, ready for the rapid fire Q&A segment? iRacing or real
I
racing?
think I'm ready. Real racing.
You're going real racing?
Yeah, for sure.
All right, since right now, if you had all the freedom in the world, what racing would you like to try?
Man, that's usually the last one, isn't it?
No, I'm throwing it over. Turn it around on you, dude.
It's always been, I always saw myself being that vet pro, when I'm old, 25. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Right. And I didn't even race when I was 25 anymore. But
We're not all like Ron Watmore
Right, I know.
or Destry Abbott.
Yep, those guys are amazing. So I always thought that it would be something with a cage. I would love to be in some kind of short course truck or something.
Yeah, something in the dirt.
Yep, that's what
Yeah.
I would do.
I think that would be pretty cool. Like a Pro 4, or would you get a similar amount of enjoyment out of a UTV?
I would, because I did that
Yeah.
on your car. That was
What did you think about that? Like when you got out, did you think about it for days after? You're like,
Dude,
this was totally different than what I
was
thought, or
driving home trying to figure out what I was going to do to
afford one?
go racing.
Yeah.
Hey, babe, guess what we're doing?
Yep.
Then I obviously have the realization of that's not going to happen.
Yeah, it doesn't happen. That's what I thought too when I first started. I was like, oh, this is cheap. It's only so and so for the car,
right.
and then all of a sudden you're spending all kinds of money racing every
right.
weekend. All right, here's one of the new questions.
Thanks, Tim. I see you, buddy.
Oh, did some people comment in?
And he says it will come back. Love you too, buddy.
Oh, Beerat said that opening in June, we hope. Does that mean that Angel Fire? Is that what he's talking about?
Possibly. He's got some stuff up there too. A couple of parks.
Right on.
That he rides the old Shiznit on.
All right, Vans or Chuck Taylors?
Vans, of course.
Yeah. So we were talking about this a
Absolutely.
little bit. Like, it's another profiling question, right? Because they're totally different
They
people.
are totally different.
And we were starting to think about it. We were like, Reeboks and Nikes. Yep,
Yeah,
those are totally
same.
different people.
And totally good in their own right, but they're polar opposites.
yeah, exactly. So those are good questions, though, because then we can get them. Bikes or running?
Oh, of course, bikes.
Yeah.
I can't do the running anymore. The knees are ruined.
Too blown out.
Yeah.
I'm definitely not going to put Cincerillo in this because he's got a lot of publicity. We'll just do the same one, Barsha or Webb.
Webb.
You're going Webb?
Although I've changed my tune on Barsha, I used to not be able to stand him, but
He's coming back a
he
little bit.
has shown that whole put your head down and grind it out. And I mean, he's fighting for a career.
So you know who had a lot to do with that, right? Is my buddy Tom Danielson. He's been a mental coach and a physical coach for him.
That's awesome.
So it's really cool to see that. And we were talking about it earlier when you say all in, or Adam maybe said it, but that's his motto.
It is.
To be all in.
If I can rewind, it's neither of them.
Oh, I know. I was going to follow this up. So
okay, good.
We have like a little bit.
But if you have to pick,
you're going to pick number 9 because you want him to win.
Oh man,
I know you do. Guy. But so the next 3 weeks are going to be crazy in the Supercross series. How do you think it's going to go down between the top 3? Because Webb is kind of on the sidelines, so I feel like he's just going to be like the madman last chance qualifier guy that's just going to be pinned at the last part of the main event.
I'm sure he will.
But how do you think it's going to go down between the top 3, Roczen, Tomac, and Cooper Webb?
I think Cooper Webb. I don't know. I don't remember how far back he is the problem.
I think he's almost a full race back. But
yeah, I think you're right.
He can seriously throw a wrench in the mix if AC gets up there.
Right. And if Tomac does what Tomac always does, which is lose his head.
So for me, I'm just going to pick Roczen because I think he's going to be the most consistent. I think Tomac's going to have raw speed, but I honestly think Webb is just going to go guns blazing.
I agree with you, and I actually there's this side of me though that says I'm sick and tired of Tomac being so close and being terrible.
Yeah, inconsistent.
Like, I want him to get this done because if not, he's going to go down in history as the winningest rider that never got it done.
Yeah,
and that's terrible.
I felt bad for Kevin Windham when he did that, but Kevin wasn't
for sure.
even. Yeah. All right. So Supercross is going to be awesome. I can't wait. This Sunday it starts.
Can't wait.
Favorite food?
Pizza.
You're going pizza?
Yeah.
You're going Steve Westfall?
I am.
Pizza?
And it doesn't matter.
What does it have on it? Like, what's the pizza?
Well, I've got a secret setup. That's my favorite.
Setup. Does Courtney know about this?
She does, and of course she loves it, but everybody pretends they don't.
Oh, really?
So it's got to be thin crust. Actually, any brand, but thin crust Pizza Hut. Pineapple, which no one likes, right? Nobody likes it. Yeah, you got to think of all this flavor explosion going on. Pepperoni, black olives, bacon.
Whoa, dude!
And the and red onions, and then the pineapple.
Holy smokes,
dude! Your mouth goes, "What just happened?" Oh, I'll take another piece. That's what always happens.
I'm not eating that though. You can have all of it, okay?
Yeah.
All right, Little Smokies or pizza rolls?
Little Smokies, because my grandpa used to eat them.
Oh, cool. Favorite soda?
Dr. Pepper, of course.
Yeah. A little sweet. No, that's Diet Dr. Pepper.
That's Diet.
Crave Rider, yeah. Uggs or Crocs, you're picking Vans. I already know that.
Yeah, I won't be caught dead in either one of those.
Yeah. You don't like – can your Vans have four-wheel drive like
Sorry,
Crocs?
SoCalers. They can. They actually make some big old gnarly.
Oh, yeah, because they got the high-top Vans.
Yeah, they do.
I remember that. Okay, this is actually going to be a pretty loaded question for you because you've done 3 different genres, but what's your most memorable race? Was it RC, dirt bikes, mountain bikes?
It's hard.
It could have been the one that you drank a beer when you were riding your road bike.
There's a lot of them.
One of the ones for me that was most memorable for you was the Anaheim Supercross.
That's what I was going to say. That, first time out and just being – I wish we had time to talk through that. That was just an amazing experience. Huge help from Jimmy Button.
Lily said nice shoes, by the way.
Yeah, thanks, kid. Get to bed. Just kidding. She's probably 5 hours from sleeping.
Oh, B-Rat said Anderson's going to throw a wrench in the mix for Supercross.
Yeah.
Crap.
Maybe so. El Hombre. And
he was riding at Moriarty. It brought me back.
As long as he doesn't break those bikes that Steve has to prep in.
Yeah, that's true, right?
Think of that prep.
Dude, I don't know what – those guys are going to be going crazy,
insane.
man.
We're going off track. So, my bad. So, Anaheim, 96, that was pretty amazing. And then any one of the 3 Roar National Championships that Adam and I won together, there's so many memories throughout that. And, again, I wasn't in control, but I do know that it played a big part. And it in my mind, and I've heard it from other people too, is that made such an impact and has made an impact on the whole industry.
Yeah.
That to me, those are pretty.
And being
important.
a team player probably switched it up a lot in your real life, like when you're working in your trade now and stuff. Understanding how much one single element of the team can't be let down.
No doubt.
Okay, favorite flavor of ice cream?
Oh shoot. World Class Chocolate. How can I forget?
World Class Chocolate.
Yep, it's white chocolate, black, and normal chocolate.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's
Dang, that sounds pretty
Baskin
good.
Robbins. It's the best one made. Period. End of story.
Well, this one's not very good for us, Arizona, but ski or snowboard?
If I had to do one or the other, since I have the terrible knees, I think snowboard's better for that.
Yeah, because you're not like bow-legged
I
out or
think,
whatever it's called.
Yeah.
Well, you're gonna pick dogs, but dogs or cats?
Actually, both. Remember, I grew up with some crazy cats.
Yeah, but you've always loved dogs so much,
Yeah,
especially
definitely.
even at your house.
Yeah, we got some
Well,
butt heads.
this is probably a better question for Courtney. Courtney, Netflix or YouTube?
yeah, for her it'll be Netflix and the kids.
Oh, so have you seen The Equalizer with Denzel Washington? I'm so far behind on all this stuff. I just watched it the other day. It's pretty legit.
Is it?
And they got The Equalizer 2 coming out, so I'm going to try to get in on that one.
Nice.
So you're obviously going to be watching Netflix with. Well, what about do you get to watch YouTube on your phone or anything, like when you have downtime, or no?
Yeah, definitely YouTube.
You're watching the Dirt Life show.
Yeah, and I'm not watching YouTube when I drive.
Yeah, never. iTunes always.
You can listen to it.
Burrito or taco?
Dang it, both. But I enjoy all varieties of tacos.
All things with tortillas.
Yes, but definitely tacos.
Yeah, I think tacos are got much more variety. Well, again, I know this question, but Supercross or motocross, and it doesn't have to be. You could be better at one. Like maybe you didn't do so well.
I love them both for two different reasons. Supercross because we get to see it and enjoy it. Motocross for those battles that are happening between
and how tired you get.
18th and 31st or whatever.
Well,
Remember
I'm talking
those?
about you doing it, though.
Oh, for me, Supercross.
You like Supercross? You were always so much better at Supercross, too, man. We had this discussion. I don't even remember who brought it up. Somebody asked me about you and were you good at Supercross? And I said, yeah, he was fantastic at Supercross, like way better than I ever was at Supercross. But I liked motocross better because I just like going fast.
Yeah, you were better at that than me for sure.
But Supercross, I wasn't that great. Oh, here we go. It's not going to be monster trucks, but what form of racing would you like to try? Other form?
The trucks.
You want to go short course?
Yeah.
You wouldn't even pick F1 or anything like that?
I don't think so because it's.
I feel like there's too much responsibility.
There is, and there's too much on the line.
Oh, Tim Lime said tacos. Yeah.
Tacos.
We're right there with you. I feel like too much on the line, too.
Yeah, thanks, Tim. I hear you, buddy. Appreciate that.
All right.
Yeah, one mistake and, like.
You're done, yeah. The car's toast.
Well, not only that, like 20 families can be impacted by a loss.
Yeah.
With one mistake.
Because, it's so crazy.
You know what I mean? That's ugh. Anyways, it's awesome racing, that's for sure.
All right, chips and guacamole or French fries and ranch?
Mixed it up. Well, of course you know the answer to that one.
I don't know. I've been
chips
feeling
and guac.
Like we have this place in Tucson, Arizona. It's called EG's.
I love it.
Yeah, I know you love it. I'm just saying for our audience that doesn't know, they sell slushies and sandwiches and stuff like that. I think they're actually ventured into Phoenix now, but they have these things called ranch fries.
So good.
Oh my God, they're mind blowing.
I feel like everybody has in their hometown. You have to
that
think,
one shop.
Yeah, everybody needs to think through that and do a little deep reflection on that. You might not know that it's your favorite one, but what's the one that when you travel out of town, you fly away, you do whatever, and you're gone for weeks or a month or whatever, when you come back, what's the one you hit up?
Or your in-laws come into town and you take them to the restaurant.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, for us it's EG's, absolutely.
Cool, man. Well, do you have any other shout-outs that you want to give or anything else that you want to say?
There's so many people that have, again, we've crossed paths that I appreciate. So many people. Man, all my El Paso racing family that I haven't been able to see lately. All those guys and gals. Same as all the Phoenix Tims chiming in. There's so many people.
Charlie, everybody, yeah.
Yep, so many people in Phoenix as well, and then obviously all my Tucson buddies that.
That goes back to what I was saying before, is all these people that you love and respect, they love and respect you back, man. You got a pretty good life going, and I think you still have a bright future ahead of you with all these changes that have happened in your life and the cool things that you're doing with the bicycle stuff now. You're showing me all kinds of fun stuff. You're even trying to see if we could get me on a electric assist mountain bike. I can't wait. So
we need to talk to Broadway and see if we can get one rented and go give it a shot.
Do they have demo bikes?
They do. Well, not really a demo. They have rentals.
Oh, okay.
they have one that would be
one of these days, maybe.
Yep.
Okay, cool, man. Well, good job. You did a really good job tonight.
You too. We had it was awesome having Rob.
Yeah.
That was
Warfighter made.
That's huge. That was a good timing for obviously Memorial Day. So thanks. And that guy's making huge. He's changing so many lives.
He really is.
Such a positive impact on people.
Dude, the energy level is off
it's
the
awesome.
chart. Yeah.
No Red Bulls either.
Yeah, exactly. So he took a couple shots of tequila though. So and apologies to Eric Lundvall. We only have a certain amount of time, Eric. We can't call everybody, so keep tuning into the show, bud. We all love talking about off-road and dirt life and obviously RC cars and things like that. It was awesome to see Casey and talk about RC cars tonight. It was awesome that we had Adam Drake and John Lavoie calling in. Obviously, we had, like you said, Robert Blanton calling in. Man, it was just so cool to see all the love and support that you have, man. And you're still doing it. You still have the family. You're still doing all the bicycle racing. You're helping me with this awesome show and keeping all these people entertained. It's so cool, man. I really appreciate all the things that you do for me as well.
Fun stuff. Absolutely. Same to you.
So it's cool. Good. I really appreciate it. So we will thank you, obviously, Casey, for being on the show. We will see you guys next week with our featured guest. He is one of the, if not the top dog in the off-road industry. And I don't mean just because he's a racer. His name is Craig Scanlon, and he is the president of Trans-American Auto Parts, which is four-wheel parts. They own Polaris. They own a bunch of different companies. Huge. And he is Scanlon Motorsports Group, SMG. He's a desert racer himself. He puts a lot of effort into his racing program. He puts a whole ton of effort into helping people like Warfighter Maids organization and other racers, little kids coming up through the ranks and supporting their programs. He is just an amazing individual for the sport and for the dirt life in general. He is just a fantastic dude, so we cannot wait to talk to him next week.
It's going to be good.
We'll have Craig Scanlon on. We want to thank, obviously, our sponsors for supporting the show. We want to thank everybody for tuning in. Tonight's show was awesome. It was a really good treat to go down memory lane. And thank you guys so much for chiming in. We have a huge support mechanism. You guys are our lifeblood, and we can't wait to keep talking to you every week. We look forward to it on Monday nights. Thank you to the guys at Shock Therapy. You can use the code DIRTLIFE at shocktherapist.com, or you can give them a call and say that the Dirt Life sent you, and they'll hook you up on a big old fat discount. Thank you to the guys at Zollinger Racing Products for offering the code DIRTLIFE at ZollingerRacingProducts.com. Those guys are awesome, and God, their products are just so cool. Thank you to the guys at Rugged Radios. Use the code DIRTLIFE. Thank you to Ryan Edwards and all the boys at KMC Wheels for making such great products. And obviously, thank you very much to the guys at Solderweld for their off-road kit. It's so cool. And you can use the code DIRTLIFE to save on those as well at solderweld.com. We want to thank DynoJet for giving us this opportunity to give you guys this Stage 2 clutch kit for your Razor XP Turbo. Like I said, it's like almost $700 value. I think it's $699. So we're going to try to give this thing away this week on social media, so pay attention and
follow the rules.
Boom. So thank you guys very much. We really appreciate you guys sharing your dirt life and living your dirt life with us. We will see you guys next week. We love you. Good night.
Thanks for listening to The Dirt Life Show.